Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our show. I'm your producer, Jack Tunney, and we're coming to you live on tape from the Sandwich Studio in Oceanside, California. It's October 1st, 2020, and guys, it is October. We have a great show for you today. We're starting with the first bite, where we will break down this week's biggest stories. Then, we will take a look at the gruesome first presidential debate in the Sandwich, before finally allowing you to feel the supple relief of the milk. All that being said, go like and subscribe to our channel. Your support gives us the encouragement we need to keep putting our faces into the weekly news reports and to keep doing this show. Now, without further ado, in association with SitRep Media, the hosts of the PB&J Podcast.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the PB&J Podcast. My name is Brandon Blackmon.
I'm Peter Whitehead. I just want to mention to you guys here that comments really boost our videos in the YouTube algorithm. Mm-hmm. So we're going to start a new segment starting next show where we will answer any questions commented on the last video at the beginning of each show. We think it would be fun to get real conversation going while helping our chances of being picked up by a larger audience. So let us know what you think in the comment section down below.
It's going to be super fun.
Yeah, we're excited for this idea. The opening story in our first bite has to do with Wall Street betting against our election.
Yeah, so as people know that the stock market works a lot like, sports. People bet on certain companies and they, predict certain things. And especially during election years, a lot of that can revolve around the election. So basically this article we found on marketwatch.com was just talking with certain, investors, really just random people who have a lot of money in the stock market, but talking about how they're taking money out of the stock market before the election because they're expecting a lot of volatility, chaos, a lot of up and down, basically, numbers.
Me too.
A lot of, just instability leading up to the election. But what's surprising a lot of these investors is that with how good things are looking for Joe Biden and how terrible things look for Donald Trump, a lot of people are actually very confident that Biden will be able to win comfortably and take the election to a safe ending point. Mm-hmm. So the fact that Wall Street investors are, trying to bet on the election and make money and try to, like you said earlier, short the market, mm-hmm. That's a big deal. But then also the fact that it's not working out as well because the markets seem pretty confident that Biden is going to do well. So.
Well, I hope they're right.
Yeah.
Because I would like Biden to do well. And I think that if he doesn't do well, they could be right in the other way, which is that the market might become quite volatile.
Yeah. I'd rather see, a stable market and a stable, future. I don't want to see chaos. Nobody wants to see a turmoil election. But, some people are trying to make money off of that.
Absolutely.
So that's disgusting.
Yeah. Well, in America, you try to make money off of everything, right? Off of tragedy, anything that you can, you try to make money off of. So this is not surprising to me. But speaking of tragedy, tonight, this was like a brand new story for us. We received it just before we started the show. Top aide to the president, Hope Hicks, has tested positive for coronavirus. And this is important because Hope Hicks has been on the road with Trump the last 3 days. So she was
top aide.
Yeah, she's a top aide. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He has a lot of aides, but
but that's like one of the names that people would know.
Yeah, we know Hope. I recognize it from headlines and things that
mm-hmm.
Things that she has said, spinning that she has done for the president and such.
Spinning.
But yeah, this is important because Hope Hicks was at the debate on Tuesday night, which we'll talk about more. She was with him on Wednesday on the campaign trail, and then today as well before she tested positive. So very, very, very close to the president, as close as me and Brandon are most of the time.
And we know that boy wasn't wearing a mask.
No. Yeah. So it's a dangerous situation for the president. He and Melania, the first lady, are quarantining currently, awaiting tests. So we'll see how that situation progresses, and next week we'll have an update on that story for you. But next is the Senate. The Senate has passed a bill, a bipartisan bill, to extend the operations of the government to December 11th, which avoids the chance of a governmental shutdown when the fiscal year starts October 1st. So that's today. The fiscal year started, by the way. But yeah, so this avoids the shutdown. This allows the government agencies to continue operations even though no budget has been decided upon.
Is this
yet.
kind of in the same vein as what they usually do, just kind of pushing it?
It's a
till
continuing resolution, and so so that I'm going to call that a CR from now on, but it's a continuing resolution. A CR is legislation in the form of a joint resolution enacted by Congress when the new fiscal year is about to begin or has begun to provide budget authority for federal agencies and programs to continue in operation until regular appropriation acts are enacted. So this is just kicking the can down the road, not super far down the road, only till December 11th, but they're going to have to get a budget bill set up and ready. These continuing resolutions, man, they're not good for the function of these bureaucratic agencies that the government runs.
Are waiting for they're waiting for some kind of message from the government.
So they're just operating off of last year's budget, and they're just going to continue to do the same things that they have been doing. That's all this continuing resolution says.
It's important that they have that power to do continuing resolutions, but it shouldn't be something they rely on.
Yeah, they do it all the time. Like if you pay any attention to, appropriations bills and things, continuing resolutions are like the go-to because we have such a hard time making agreements in our legislative bodies, especially these last 10 years. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that so that we know that the government isn't going to shut down on top of everything else.
Yeah.
We're safe from that at least till December 11th.
Because we know they're having other, stimulus debates as well. And
a lot of other things. I mean, the Supreme Court nomination is going to be in the Senate too.
Yeah.
So,
in the context of stimulus, but there have been massive layoffs at certain companies around the country. And these are huge companies, not your small business. We're talking about Disney personally laying off 32,000 employees at the in the parks division. And those are people who started, built their lives at Disney. The thing about Disney parks is that people usually love those jobs. They love being there. It's their livelihood.
Stay there a while.
They're daily, going to Disney every day, having that amazing lifestyle. But also some other companies were American Airlines and United Airlines. Yeah. And the airline companies were crazy hit by this pandemic because, no one's vacationing, no one's traveling as much.
Mm-hmm.
So
only essential travel to most of the world.
Yeah, and not even like business travel, which is such a huge percentage of, traveling.
Mm-hmm.
So the AP News reported that U.S. air travel remains 70% lower than it was at this point last year, which is an insane number, like just 70%. And so they're just worried that not only that our, everyday travel businesses, your hotels, your small business that helps you find tickets to Disney cheaper. That's always a thing. But the flight attendants, the pilots, there's all these people who are finding less hours, finding less work because there's simply less flights and less revenue being made.
I have a buddy who's training to be a pilot, and they had to push off his whole training.
Wow.
He got into the program, massive. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to expose him or whatever, but massive airline, a gig to work to be a pilot. And I think it was 6 months from when, and he was my housemate in Los Angeles. He left, and I think December for that, December or January for that. And then COVID hits in March, and they pushed him off, and he's probably going to go back to his job as a flight instructor that he was doing before. So this whole advancement in his career is backlogged as a result of COVID and as a result of what you're mentioning in the airlines.
So people are saying that these airlines need direct help because they have been directly hit in a way that maybe your grocery store isn't directly affected by a pandemic in the way that the travel and hospitality service is.
Yeah. And,
also cities like Las Vegas, those cities are completely, theoretically, for a while they were completely shut down and, quiet, but they are, kind of more open now. But the amounts of jobs that were just destroyed, never coming back just because, people aren't immediately going back to Las Vegas. People aren't immediately going back to Disneyland. So the growth is going to take a long time for it to go back to truly pre-pandemic levels.
Mm-hmm.
So United Airlines actually told leaders in the Trump administration that are working closely to get a stimulus bill passed. They told the Trump administration and Congress that if stimulus gets passed, then they could stop all of these layoffs and the furloughs, which is like a direct ask to the Congress. You could save people this week, next week, this month.
Nah, but they gotta worry about the Supreme Court justice, bro.
Yeah,
and Hunter Biden in the
they do have to worry about the Supreme Court, though. You know, like, you should not have brought that up right there.
No, I'm just saying they're focused on other things. They're not going to help people because they think that they're going to get political wins here. Why would they help people when they could make an entire charade out of the Supreme Court nomination and make it this whole big thing, you know? Like why sit as a Republican who, you know, doesn't care?
Yeah.
Why do anything?
And they're like, oh, if we do anything now, the economy might look better if Biden wins, and we can't let them look good.
Dude, that's such dumb rationale. Like,
yeah,
that's
I mean,
so dumb.
What they should be doing is giving the money out a long time ago, so the people can actually, you know, survive. and
also, like,
that
if
could
Biden
do better
wins,
for your
don't we
election?
want his economy to do well? Like, doesn't it
It's
help
partisan.
you too, Republicans, if Biden wins and his economy does well? Like, I don't
crazy.
understand that. I don't understand the obstructionism and the damage. And I mean, the same could be said of Democrats and what happened with Trump. But
I think that's kind of what I got from the debate. Like, just complete partisanship, 100%.
partisanship.
No longer about policy at all.
Yeah.
Straight up a cat fight.
No, they're just talking past each other. Yeah, we'll get into that though. Let's
you know, continuing about, you know, won't both sides do very well in either economy? Like, you know, both sides are going to make sure that the investors are doing well, but also making sure that the people are doing well. Like it has to be a twofold solution.
Right.
Like, no one is saying kill all the rich. You know, we have to.
Well, some people are saying that.
We have to appease every party.
Yes.
Realistically, though, you know, we have to appease every party.
And that's you know, kind of the Biden talking point that I've been bringing up a lot, is that this guy's a compromiser. You know, his whole intention is to find some form of compromise between conservatism and liberalism in America.
If you could bring up the wealth inequality graph, this is just a crazy, you know, visualization of just our country, though, and just how the, you know, policies and decisions make effects.
So if you guys can't see that, what it says there is, so there's a yellow line, a green line, an orange line, and a blue line, right? The blue line is the bottom 40. The orange line is the next 40%. So that's up to 80% of the U.S. population. And then the next 9, and then the top 1% is the yellow.
So that's, you know, just showing their share of wealth in the U.S. economy. And that bottom 50%, the blue line, is at 0.05% of the U.S. economy.
Yeah, less than 0.05%.
Yeah, less than, and then dropping. It actually goes really low in 2010 and kind of comes back up. It's kind of hard to see that. And, I mean, I feel like most of our viewers probably understand that the bottom 50% has been getting screwed for a very long time.
Yeah. If you watch our podcast, I mean.
On purpose. But I thought this graph was extra shocking because if you look at the orange section, which is the next bottom 40%, so that'd be like
to 80%, 40 to 80%.
It's actually 50 and 40. So the blue is 50.
Oh, to 90 then.
Yes.
Yeah, so 50 to 90. Sorry, that's my bad.
That number has also gone down like an extreme amount from, you know, 0.035 to 0.025 ish. And
the green and the yellow, which are the top 10% of the U.S. population, has gone up.
So not only are the bottom half of the economy getting screwed, the next 40% are also losing out on like their fair share, and
such disparity.
The value of their wealth is decreasing compared to. As more money is being made in our economy, it's going to a few hands. And as more money's being made in the economy, it's going to a few hands, and we can see that so clearly here that even the next 40% are getting screwed.
Yes.
Like those are wealthy people as well.
Yeah, pretty wealthy. Yeah.
Yeah. We can skip the next graphic, but it was going to show how their wealths have just extremely exploded in the top 1%, in trillions, as the bottom 50% has stayed the exact same, even losing.
I think that first image we showed, it tells all the story that this second one does. So it's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
And on some lighter news, though, we've got some good stuff coming out of California, as always, thanks to Daddy Newsom, Governor Newsom. I meant to say. Some people call him Daddy Newsom. I mean,
A lot of people call him Daddy Newsom.
I don't really.
He's got that dad like vibe to him for some reason. There's something about him that it's just.
We have to have that kind of connotation with our political leaders, I think. And that's why Trump is terrible, because he just doesn't feel like a father figure or a family member or anything. He's just a monster in a suit.
Yeah, he feels unhuman, almost inhuman.
But Trump's EPA was actually criticizing California as of this week, because Governor Newsom was signing all of these bills, executive orders into action. And one of those bills was that California will stop all sales of new gas-powered cars by 2035.
Wow.
And that is an official declaration by
Daddy
the
Newsom.
state.
Oh.
And it's an executive order. So there's a lot of pressure because, of course, people are going to say that this is the left trying to control the economy. Mm-hmm. Even the White House was saying that.
I think Trump said something about it during the debate as well.
The zero-emission cars?
Yeah, that he said what California is doing is just crazy. It's just crazy. I don't know if we'll play that clip or not, but if we do, I'll point it out to you guys later.
Well, White House Deputy Press Secretary Jude Deere said that this is just another example of how extreme the left has become. They want the government to dictate every aspect of Americans' life and raise costs to consumers. And in my opinion, I think it's really just an effective use of the executive power, the executive order, because it's not doing anything today. It's not saying if you have a gas-powered car, you have to sell it today. It's not saying...
It's not even saying that if you have a gas-powered car, you have to sell it in 2035. It's just saying that we will not allow more sales.
More new ones.
New sales, yeah.
New production. So Governor Newsom was literally saying that it won't stop any markets of used car sales. It won't stop any of that. And they're even going to start funding charging stations along the highways. They're going to start funding...
Brave new world, man.
They're going to allow... they're going to fund complexes, like apartment complexes that want to build charging stations right in the complex. Like, this is taking pieces of the Green New Deal and making them real today, which is super awesome.
I think he also did something recently, I don't see it here, but related to helping Californians get solar panels on their houses.
I think that was a while ago. Though.
Yeah, that was like a couple months ago, I think.
I think it was like 2018.
But he is advancing in that way. He's very good with the environment, with the climate. I think he's great that way.
May I make a note?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
But in relation to this idea that the White House thinks that California is trying to tank the economy by doing something like this, we're talking about the 9th largest economy in the world.
Sixth.
Fifth.
No, I flipped it in my brain.
I'm pretty sure it's fifth.
No, I think it's sixth.
I believe we said sixth.
not
last
including
podcast.
not including the U.S. I'm pretty sure it's 5. The number I have right here is 5.
But if we're being realistic and logical, right? And we're the 6th largest economy in the world. We're piggybacking the American economy in a way. Why would the powers that be want to destroy what that is? It's not
That's a
as
good
black
point.
and white as they want it to be. It is, the world is falling apart. If we don't pick up our boots and our straps right now and try to help generations down the line, they're going to be living in hell.
Governor Newsom would not put something into place like that would directly tank the economy in the way that they're suggesting.
It's just not. Yeah, they're just.
Also,
I don't
suggesting
think any
something very
statesman
false.
would. I don't think Donald would.
It doesn't have
as-
teeth like that.
Yeah.
It's literally
it's
like
a teethless argument, and I just wanted to say that,
it's just rewarding companies that try to achieve this goal, this standard. And as such a large economy, we actually have the power to say, if you want to sell your cars here, they have to be zero emissions.
You were right, by the way. It's the 5th largest, but that's if you
boy.
remove the United States from the counting.
Yeah. If you could pull up the Clean Air Act graph, this.
Oh, I got you.
So this is actually being allowed under the EPA Clean Air Act, which was passed by Obama.
Right.
And
Thanks, Obama.
as we can see in this graph, you can look at about 2004, 2008 is when emissions started dropping so fast. And we can just see that this is a clear response to the Clean Air Act of 2008.
So it works. Environmental legislation works. That's what this says, right?
And it works, but also it works because it's not the Clean Air Act wasn't laying down the law. It was giving
Incentive.
It was giving the power for governors to make its incentives.
Okay.
So I think, see, the Republicans don't get us, man. They always just say we want to restrict, we want to, stop, and we want to regulate. No, we want to incentivize the right thing. We want to encourage good behavior.
Right.
Like Elon Musk and his Tesla company, they got a huge bailout for, just because they have these electric cars. And I don't have a problem with that, really. I start to have a problem with it when Elon Musk comes out against socialism,
Yeah.
Like, he is a direct beneficiary of huge government bailouts and government assistance. Like, it shouldn't be a bad thing if what you're doing is helping the environment. And I'm glad that Governor Newsom took those steps.
Indeed.
He also took some other steps he signed like a ton of his executive orders this week and, signed the bills that were passed by
On a roll, if
the
you will.
legislation. He was on a roll, on a voter roll. A voter roll.
Roll purges?
I don't know what that means. He signed an executive order to ban wildlife harming rodenticides, which, kill rodents. But specifically, they harm the mountain lions, those beautiful mountain lions we looked at the end of last episode.
Yeah, those little babies.
Basically, they want to stop farmers from using these rodenticides that ended up being found in like 96% of necropsized mountain lions.
Necropside.
Necropside. I think that means
They're dead.
Well, they found them dead. They
didn't kill them.
Interesting. And more than 80% of the raptors dinosaurs studied showed exposure to these anticoagulant rodenticides.
It's not. The raptors are not dinosaurs.
Are you referring to like
Velociraptor?
birds of prey? Not.
No, I think he means literal raptors.
You're talking about.
The governor's office said raptors. I wrote it down.
It's a type of bird.
Yeah, that's a genome for birds.
Yeah.
I just don't want you to say velociraptor.
It says raptors. I was like, whoa, raptors! I gotta tell Peter.
Yeah, that's what Jurassic Park has done to our generation. We're just like Velociraptor.
Just a quick paleontology lesson for
Oh,
everybody
God.
in the audience. Just going to hit you with a little knowledge. The velociraptors of Jurassic Park are about 2.5 times the size of velociraptors. But don't get that.
So they were smaller. That's what
So
you're saying.
yeah, but if they showed up with 5 of them, you're not running away.
You
can't just kick them.
But how much bigger did you say they were?
They were 2.5 times bigger than what they usually would look like. They didn't have crazy skin looking like that. It was more feathers.
I got real scared of those guys.
Well, you should be, because that's what they are. They're terrifying. But they were more bird-like. So if you looked at them now today, you would think they were a big-ass chicken.
Bruh.
But they would tear your eyes out and kill you if they had like 2 of them.
Yeah.
They're crazy still.
It's crazy that
Well, this rodenticide kills them though.
96% of
No raptors in
the
2020.
lions that they found dead had this this chemical in
poison,
them
yeah.
that causes chronic growth and reproduction issues in 96% of them.
And the mountain lions are an endangered species.
So yeah, we need to save them. Need to stop that. He also signed a series of bills to improve the state's emergency preparedness for wildfires and response efforts, support wildfire survivors through a lot of insurance reform. There's lots of new insurance protections for wildfire survivors and people who lost their homes, which is awesome. And also there was like a bill to safeguard communities in high fire hazard zones, which does include simple stuff like forest management, which is something we obviously take care of. the fact that Donald Trump says, why don't you just rake the floors? Like, one, forest management is something they already do. Like, and this bill also just reaffirms forest management.
I'm just going to be completely honest. I don't think our president has ever stepped foot in a forest because
it's not raking the floors.
Yeah, the forests in California are so expansive and so difficult.
Yeah, what they do is
able to walk through.
They push it away from the towns. They push it. They create a perimeter. That's what the bill will do. Create a larger perimeter around
cities, so that when the fires burn, it's just out in the boonies.
The boon.
We had a lot of returning jokes just then.
Also, finally, on the executive orders signed recently in California, Governor Newsom signed a chokehold ban into legislation, which is awesome, and mandated the Department of Justice has the right to investigate police-involved killings.
That's the State Department of Justice, right?
That is the California Department of Justice, yes. So taking it out of the local governments and, hopefully allowing for better justice.
Well, let's hope that he continues to sign more
Lots of
important
reassuring
legislation.
And very reassuring.
Yeah.
And
good stuff, Daddy Newsom.
As people try to recall him,
Yeah, I was at the gun store the other day, and they had a petition.
What are you doing now?
Nothing.
Same.
Browsing.
But yeah, actually,
no, but they had a petition up there at the store. It was it was like recall Newsom in big letters, and then they had the petition there, and you would walk up and you sign it.
That's what those guys were doing down by the beach. I was like, I don't remember buying any Newsom.
I went and talked to one of those guys, and I'm like, recall Newsom. Okay, give me 3 things. He was like, I lost my job, and Governor Newsom said I can't go back to work because of the pandemic.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying.
That's not him.
That's so empty, man.
That's not him.
You might as well just blame China for having something happen to them.
Yeah, okay, here's the thing. Newsom is not a perfect governor, okay? He is not a perfect politician. He's not a perfect person, nor do I expect him to be. But he has done the job that it was prescribed to him, and he stood up to the Donald. And he's, writing lots of good executive orders and signing good legislation.
And he's daring. Like, he's not willing to just do the normal. Like, he even signed, like, I don't know if it's, like, what it is exactly, but they're looking into creating an agency that's going to study, reparations for slave families that, can prove that they have lineage or whatever, but...
Why do you have to prove that you have lineage to slaves to get
I don't know, but
it's not like when slavery ended, suddenly black people were enfranchised.
I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but just the fact that he's willing to sign that into law, put his name on it, make it happen, like, that's awesome. California wasn't a slave state, but...
No, but we were actually part of the Union when the Civil War happened, though.
Yeah, exactly. So
the Union we didn't fight for the Union as in the country that is the United States.
Even if it doesn't lead to reparations, it's important that we're at least looking into the effects, especially economic effects that racism and slavery had and is still having on our world.
Yeah, let's talk about some of those effects.
Here we go.
You thought that first bite was a...
Yeah, that was a doozy, but ladies and gentlemen, get ready.
For the doozy we all experienced this week on Tuesday.
We're going to try and keep this upbeat so that we don't just drone you through the entire hellscape that is the first presidential debate.
Yeah, so Donald J. Trump collectively took a shit on the entirety of America during this time. But let's
I was there.
Let's talk about like the stage for a second. So we have this debate. It's in Cleveland, Ohio, in a swing state.
At like a medical center or something, right?
Yeah, some form of medical center. The rules were that both candidates would receive roughly equal speaking time. That was kind of enforced, not super enforced.
It's in the rules.
There were 6 segments that were roughly 15 minutes each. Both candidates get 2 minutes uninterrupted for their first question, and then a discussion period follows where both can talk for the remainder of the time, and they can talk over each other and so on and so forth. The moderator was a gentleman who I actually enjoy, Chris Matthews.
Me too.
He's a Fox News guy. He has a show. For control of this debate, I would give this moderator a C+.
That's passing.
It's passing,
Yeah, he
but
passed.
it was rough. It was really rough.
He could have failed.
For the questions, however, I give him an A-. They weren't perfect questions, right? There wasn't like, the killer questions that we sometimes see. But I thought he gave great questions. I only wish that he had followed through some more on some of the questions that he had asked. And I'll bring that up again as we go through some of the stuff.
To me, it's hilarious that the conservatives are trying to blame him for how the debate went. Like, oh, look at
the debate went the way that it went because Donald J. Trump is a
yeah,
baby.
exactly. They're
He's a
coping.
baby.
They can't blame their supreme overlord, so they
Right.
got to blame the moderator. All he did was ask questions and try to control your guy.
Yeah.
So no matter how bad he was, he had to deal with the ultimate bad.
Yeah, and we've seen Trump in debates before, okay? This is not the first time that we've witnessed this guy in a debate. We know this is what he does. He talks over moderators. He talks over his opponents. He yells and he is very aggressive. Like, we knew coming into this that this is what this would be. However,
I was still shocked.
it was still shocking.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the debaters real quick before we get into the actual subject material. So obviously, Joe Biden and Donald Trump are the two debaters, the Democratic nominee and the Republican incumbent president. They step out onto the stage. They're keeping distance from one another. They're not shaking hands. This is a first for presidential debates, by the way, the first ever in history that the two candidates have not shaken hands.
Is it a sign?
They had to specify that it was not going to happen, though.
Yeah.
Because that is something big.
Yeah, it's huge, actually. It's like a historical moment. But it makes
shade?
It makes sense, though, right? Because like with everything going on, you probably you want to limit contact as much as possible.
Is there beef?
And lucky for Joe Biden, too, because it could very well have been that Donald Trump, had the virus even at that time because of this story with Hope Hicks. But
Oh, my goodness.
and they did exchange some pleasantries. Joe came in and he was like, "Oh, how you doing?" And Donald Trump says, "I'm doing well, Joe. Thank you for asking." And
those were all the pleasantries.
that was it. That's the pleasantries for the
That
rest
was
of the debate.
end of the pleasantry.
So the first segment was on the Supreme Court, which was the story that we covered last week. Ruth Bader Ginsburg obviously, unfortunately, passed away. And so there's a vacancy now in the Supreme Court that Trump wishes to fill. Chris Matthews asked some questions about this. There's no clip yet, Jack Tunney. I just go through this segment. The reason that we have no clip for this one was because I felt like these are the same lines that have been reiterated by conservative media and by liberal media this whole time, right? It's, well, actually, we do have the right to do this because we won the election. And then the other side was, we should wait till this election. It's the same stuff. It was the same talking
points.
points.
Which was flipped in 2016.
Yes.
It was the exact opposite.
Yes. And in fact, I think Donald even in a debate said...
He keyed in on it.
Yeah, in a debate in 2016 against Clinton said that they should wait for the election.
To me, just the power play of it, though, was just especially at
I get
the
what they're
jump.
saying.
At the top of it, though, just the way that he came out, well, elections have consequences. We all voted, and I'm still president, and I'll be president for a long time now. And it's like...
Yeah, well,
it's
and
like,
also,
ouch.
He said, and this was a point that did strike true with a lot of people, I'm sure, which was that he's president for 4 years, not for 3.5, right? So even as a lame duck, theoretically,
It's true.
But
it's
just so hypocritical because of what the Republicans did.
exactly
Because Obama, it was March that Scalia died. It was in March, and then Obama had a nominee.
They
Merrick
sat
Garland.
on him for a long, long time.
It was a full year. It was till March in 2017 that they brought in Neil Gorsuch. So it was a full year, and then they're trying to bust this through in the last 40 days of the election. So like it is difficult.
I truly think that we should have a say, but it's just not how it's going to look.
Personally, I think we should just, as America, we should get to the point where we should agree that we shouldn't pack the court. I think that.
Yeah, that was also one of the questions, and that was posed to Joe Biden.
Will you pack the court, Joe? Will you pack the court?
Yeah. So what packing the court means, for those of you at home who don't understand, it's adding more than 9 Supreme Court justices. So I don't know exactly how long, but it's been a while that it's been 9 Supreme Court justices. It wasn't always that way. I think it was 3 when we began. But
FDR increased it.
Yes, certainly. Either from 7 or from 5.
I think it was 7.
But yeah, so it's at 9 now. Packing the court is adding more on top of that. So if say Donald Trump gets this nomination and then Biden is elected, and then he adds another Supreme Court justice, that would be 10 Supreme Court justices, and that's what's packing is. And he was asked a question by Chris Matthews. Joe Biden was asked a question by Chris Matthews that's basically was, if you are elected, will you pack the court? To which Biden responds a non-answer. He says, I'm not going to respond to that question because whatever my response will become the issue.
Yes. Great answer.
And that's not the issue. What the issue is that Donald Trump in possibly the last 3 months of his presidential term is trying to get a third nominee onto the Supreme Court, which would change the way that our country functions irreparably. It would be a long time before we get to see any differences on that court. So
Biden's response to the story is not the story.
Yeah.
Great point.
Yes.
And this Supreme Court stuff matters because it's not only like, for example, Roe versus Wade. It's also
Medicare for all.
Medicare. Obamacare is,
or not Medicare for all. I'm sorry.
Is being fought in the courts right now, thanks to Trump, who's been, pushing it there his entire presidency.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's said to be heard 5 days after the election, November 8th.
Almost like a plan.
Yes. But yeah, that's and healthcare is actually our next segment, so that's a good segue. Good job, dude. So this is the first clip that I wanted to show because I think this really shows the beginning of the true debate, which is between Donald J. Trump and Chris Matthews. Let's get it. Chris Wallace. God, I've been saying Chris Matthews the whole time.
I can't
Pause it for a second. And put me back on.
I just realized.
Put me back on. I've been saying Chris Matthews the whole time. It is Chris Wallace. I am so sorry.
We don't watch Fox.
That's the problem. I like Chris Matthews is another guy. So
yeah, it is.
Chris Wallace, we mean no harm.
We mean I actually loved you in this debate, Chris Wallace.
Yeah,
you did a good job.
You did an exceptional job.
I'm sorry for misnoming.
He also has pretty good Trump interviews. Like
that Trump interview was great. That was one of my favorite Trump interviews. Was him.
He doesn't take his S. Like,
yeah, go ahead and go back. I'm sorry.
Let's hit it.
Yeah, go for it.
Care. And then we'll go back to Roe v. Wade.
All right.
Mr. President, the Supreme Court will hear a case a week after the election in which the Trump administration, along with 18 state attorneys general, are seeking to overturn Obamacare, to end Obamacare. You have spent the last...
Because they want to give good health care.
If I may ask my question, sir.
If I may ask my question,
sir. Over the last 4 years, you have promised to repeal and replace Obamacare, but you have never in these 4 years come up with a comprehensive plan to replace Obamacare.
Yes, I have.
Of course I have.
Well,
I got rid of the individual mandate.
I'm going to give you an opportunity.
I got rid of the individual mandate.
So what Trump says, so Chris Wallace says, you haven't come up with a plan. To which he says, yes, I have. Of course I have. And then says, I got rid of the individual mandate, which I will say now loudly so that everyone understands. Getting rid of a part of a plan is not a plan.
Saying you did something before is not a plan for the future.
Go back to it. Play it. Because it gets into the the crossfire between Chris Wallace and the president.
That is not a comprehensive plan.
That is absolutely a big thing. That was the worst part of Obamacare. Chris,
that was the worst part of Obama. Let me ask my question.
Well, I'll answer you.
He's trying to ask a
The
question.
individual mandate was the most unpopular aspect of Obamacare. I got rid of it.
I'd like
and we will protect people.
Mr. President.
This debate, and I would like you to let me ask my question, and then you can answer your question.
All right, you can pause it.
In the course of these 4 years.
But yeah, so that's something that we're going to see more and more of as we go through this is just Trump arguing with Wallace for no reason over semantics. Like he
didn't ask the question yet.
No, he hadn't even asked the question yet, and Trump is like fighting him on the wording of the question.
It's like have you washed the dish? Yes, I washed the dishes. I always wash the dishes. Of course I wash dishes. There's like a dish in the sink.
There's like several dishes in the sink. No, but Trump claimed just a little bit after that. I didn't want to play. I'm trying not to play like whole parts of there, but I will do some quotes. He claimed that he is protecting pre-existing conditions. There is an executive order that he signed that claims to protect pre-existing conditions. That's just simply not true. He's in the process of litigating Obamacare to pieces, as Chris Wallace mentioned, which is what protects people with pre-existing conditions. He offered no alternative plan, and then he signed a toothless executive order that won't protect people. So don't listen to this cat. He has no idea what he's talking about when it comes to healthcare.
And he has no idea how to get healthcare. Actually, do you remember what he said? He said, no one knew healthcare could be this difficult. Dude, everybody knows.
We all knew that.
Nobody knew healthcare could be so difficult.
Yeah, so just give it to everyone, make it easy.
So let's see what Biden has to say on healthcare. We got here a clip of him defending his healthcare plan. And just play it through to when Trump starts interrupting.
Sounds good.
Points out that you like to add a public option to Obamacare, and
Yes.
the argument that he makes and other Republicans make is that that is going to end private insurance.
It is
and
not.
will, if I
sorry.
can ask you the question, it will
Not what your
end.
party says, by the way.
It will
Bruh.
end private insurance and create a
just
government
lost the laugh.
takeover of health care.
It does not. It's only for those people who are so poor they qualify for Medicaid. They can get that free in most states, except governors who want to deny people who are poor Medicaid. Anyone
See,
who
here's a real
qualifies
fucking
from care
plan.
would-
This is a real plan.
Medicaid would automatically be enrolled in the public option.
That's a process.
The vast majority of the American people would still not be.
No, I mean,
in
you could go to
that
his website
option,
right now. You can
number
read his
one.
whole
You
healthcare
agree
plan.
with Bernie
No, but
Sanders, who's
I
far
did-
left
Has
on the
Bernie-
manifesto.
Go ahead and
You-
pause it because I can explain what he's saying here.
Have they ever
Roll back.
agreed?
Him and Bernie? Fuck no. Can we
Majority of the
no
American
pull me
people
back. Pull me back on the screen.
I'm sorry.
I want to be on the screen.
Yeah, show Peter.
Show me.
Show us.
Show us the stars.
Oh yeah. Thank you. That's much better.
You agree with Bernie and those socialists?
No,
he
that's what he
doesn't.
ran his entire primary campaign on, is that he is not a socialist and he doesn't want socialist medicine. In fact, the thing that distinguished him
The main thing
from the you know, the so-called progressives, right?
Sure.
Or the radical left,
whatever.
was that he wanted people to be able to keep their private health care, that he didn't want Medicare for all. He just wanted those who can't afford health care in the current system to be covered as well. That was
Yeah.
the difference between him and the progressive candidates,
His
especially
plan-
between him and Bernie.
His plan is even one of the more like minuscule like public options. Like,
Yeah.
Pete Buttigieg had like a way more expansive one.
Yeah, no,
And-
this guy is a moderate. He's and Trump keeps trying to force him to the left, but it won't work. I'm a leftist, you know, like
Yeah.
I'm a socialist, like a democratic socialist. And I know that what he's doing is bull. Like he's just trying to make people believe that Biden is some socialist or something.
It doesn't
Like,
make sense.
we all fought against Biden for 6 months to try to get Bernie Sanders elected, and then you're trying to convince us that he's a socialist?
And he tries to argue that he is both doing it for the socialists and at the same time losing the socialist left.
Yeah, right. Both things.
Scratch your head. Scratch your head with me, audience.
Let's go ahead and go to my favorite part of this debate.
Also, my favorite part.
Yeah. Yeah. So what we have here is, you know, Trump has been, it's almost 20 minutes into the debate. Trump has been interrupting. And then we have,
With nonsense.
with lots of nonsense, just, you know, spurting his opinions, whatever they may be.
Biden finally achieves to express how the country truly feels.
Yes.
When they hear Donald Trump talk.
Tell us how it is, Biden.
Question.
I'm not going to answer the question
Why would
because
you answer that
because
question?
the question
you
is
want to put a lot
the
of new
question
Supreme Court
is
justice,
the
radical
question-
left.
Will you
Who
shut
is your,
up, man?
Listen, who is
Go ahead and pause it. So that
Will you shut up, man?
I love that. So that's obviously in reference to the question that we talked about earlier, which is Joe Biden possibly packing the courts, right? And he's saying he won't answer the question, and then Trump is just blah 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 over the top of him.
Yeah.
And then finally he says what we have all wanted to say to Trump for 4 years now, which is, will you
long
just shut
time.
up, man?
Yeah.
I don't think there's much to say on this. But
I saw that and I was like, Yes, that felt so good. Just shut up. Please shut up.
Please shut up,
I
man.
mean, the way Trump was ranting at that moment, because it went from healthcare back to the Supreme Court, and he was like, radical left, healthcare, radical left, socialism, Medicare for all. Oh, now we're back on Supreme Court, radical left Supreme Court, radical, like, he just goes. It was, like you said, inhuman. It wasn't relatable. He wasn't giving even the Republicans anything to bite on, in my opinion.
But yeah, so that kind of wrapped up the healthcare / Supreme Court section that they did there. The next one was the COVID-19 response. And this segment was really a referendum on Trump. They were bringing up stuff that Trump had done, what Trump should have done, what Biden would have done if he was there. And I wanted to play kind of an elongated piece of this because I thought this part was super interesting. And so the first part of the clip is going to start with Biden talking about what happened during the COVID crisis, his opinions on it, his views of what went wrong and such. And then we'll get into Trump's response to that. Go ahead, Jack Tunney.
You want to do till 2030, yeah?
It'll be a little bit past 2030. Cool. But it's a longer clip. We'll talk over it and stuff.
We have had more than 7 million cases of coronavirus in the United States, and more than 200,000 people have died. Even after we produce a vaccine, experts say that it could be months or even years before we come back to anything approaching normal. My question for both of you is, based on what you have said and done so far and what you have said you would do starting in 2021.
You know, it's Trump when you got to ask him, based on what you've done before, what would you do going forward?
To deal with this public health crisis going forward. In this case, the question goes to you first, sir. 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Good luck.
Pause it for a second.
Great part.
Fantastic. I love that little good luck. That is a little piece of personality from Biden.
Yes.
A feeling that we all felt. In fact, I said it out loud before he did when I was watching the debate the first time. He was like, hopefully, Chris Matthews or
hilarious.
Hold on.
Hold on. Chris Wallace.
Look into the camera and apologize.
I'm so sorry, Chris Wallace. I'm so sorry.
Proposition.
But Chris Wallace says to him, hopefully it's uninterrupted. And then I said, good luck. And then Joe Biden shortly followed that with, good luck.
I thought he was saying it kind of to Trump though, like, you know, you're gonna fail this part.
No, I think he was saying it to Wallace. I think he was saying
like the interruption. I thought it was about COVID specifically.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been a double-sided comment.
Yeah, it could have been both.
Just good luck in
general. Run it again. I'm sorry for the interruption.
As you said, over 7 million in the United States. We, in fact, have 4% of the world's population, 20% of the deaths. 40,000 people a day.
You can't joke like that about death rates.
About between 750 and 1,000 people a day are dying. When he was presented with that number, he said, it is what it is. Well, it is what it is because you are who you are.
Pause it.
Ooh.
That was the stick that got me when I was watching.
Headshot.
Yeah, that's a great line. That is a great line. They peer grouped the fuck out of that. They checked it out. They made sure everything was running. I wonder who wrote it. I want to hand them $20.
I mean, he literally said it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is because you are who you are. Go ahead.
One of his darkest moments of the presidency.
It is. The president has no plan. He hasn't laid out anything. He knew all the way back in February how serious this crisis was. He knew it was a deadly disease. What did he do? He's on tape as acknowledging he knew it. He said he didn't tell us or give people a warning of it because he didn't want to panic the American people.
He panicked.
You don't panic. He panicked. In addition to that, what did he do?
He said, you don't panic.
He went in and we were insisting that the Chinese, the people we had on the ground in China should be able to go to Wuhan and determine for themselves how dangerous this was.
Facts.
He did not even ask Xi to do that. He told us what a great job Xi was doing. He said we owe him a debt of gratitude for being
just
so
a silent
with us. And what did he do then? He then did nothing.
You're making me think it's real, Brandon.
Waited.
Stop.
He still doesn't have a plan. I laid out.
Well, go back.
No, I was looking at your mouth and it didn't happen that time.
You're wrong.
exactly what we should be doing.
It's just so wrong.
Why
And
do I
I laid
keep
out
getting
again
notifications
in
if I turned
July
off my
what we should be
notifications?
doing.
Explain this
We
to
should
me.
be providing all the protective gear possible. We should be providing the money the House has passed in order to be able to go out and get people the help they need to keep their businesses open schools. It costs a
He
lot
said
of
that
money.
they should pass the
You
House
should get
bill
out of your
there,
bunker
too.
and
That
get
was
out of the
important.
sand trap and get in your golf course and go in the Oval Office and bring together the Democrats and Republicans and
All right,
fund
pause it for a
what
second.
needs to be done now.
That line was very poorly delivered, but it's a good point.
Yeah, it was poorly delivered.
Um,
As I commented on, I'm like, he didn't stick on it enough, but he's
No,
making the
I mean,
best
he
point.
clearly, it was something that he read, before the debate that he was going to use, that he kind
I
of
mean, I
butchered
think he
a
feels
little
that
bit.
way, though.
Yeah, I think he does.
That's his campaign.
Just a quick speech lesson. I feel like if he had, instead of kind of fumbling through it like he does, if he had stopped and literally let that sit, you should get off your golf course and get in the Oval Office. I feel like that would have hit really well.
Yeah, but I wanted to mention something here before we get into the Trump part of this. Joe Biden is talking directly to you as the American people right now.
Mm-hmm.
It is something that you will not see Biden do, or Trump do for the entire debate. Biden is talking to you. He's looking in the camera. He's making himself square, and he's telling you
He said,
what it is.
You don't panic. He panicked.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful because he knows how, strong American people are. It's inspiring.
It's his conversational style, and I think that it helped him a lot in this debate, was to converse with us, and just try to bypass whatever crazy shenanigans Trump was doing in the sidelines. Go ahead and continue it, Tunney.
To save lives.
So if
Wait,
we would have listened to
You have 2 minutes, sir.
if we would have listened to you, the country would have been left wide open. Millions of people would have
Listen to
died,
him with
not
what?
100,000. And one person is too much. It's China's fault. It should have never happened. They stopped
That
it
claim
from
is that
going in, but it was
Biden
China's fault. And by the way,
condemned
when you
Trump
talk about numbers, you don't know how
for
many people
closing
died
off
in
China
You don't know
in
how
those
many
early
people
months.
died in Russia. You don't know how many people died in India. They don't exactly give you a straight count, just so you understand.
We live in a
But
country.
if you look at what we've done, I closed it, and you said he's xenophobic. He's racist, and he's xenophobic.
Go ahead and pause it.
Because you didn't think I
unrelated.
So I'm going to do a quick fact check on that. Biden did not condemn Trump for closing off China. He condemned calling it the China virus or the Chinese virus, which has led to xenophobia and discrimination against people of Asian descent in this country. It had nothing to do with closing off. Biden actually didn't say anything about that whatsoever.
It was specifically about the word
It was
China virus.
The China virus.
And then he's the same guy that's using the CDC to underreport our own numbers in this country.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't know how many people died in Russia and China and India. We actually have pretty accurate guesses, and also our numbers are underreported here.
Yeah.
It's like, just shut up, man.
That is
Will
the
you
line
just
of
shut up,
2020.
man?
Will you just shut up, man?
Go ahead and go into this next clip, Tunney.
Ooh,
This was
memento.
pretty despicable. This was like a lot of people turned off their TV after this one. This was kind of the start of that situation. It's 26:37.
It didn't
You got
even this is Trump's smart comment. I think
Yes.
I'll intro it a little bit, and it just didn't even make sense. The fact that he was obviously triggered and his feelings were a little hurt, and he had to just throw back any hurtful comment.
I disagree. I think that it wasn't that he was triggered. I think that he had that line prepped. He had the Delaware State thing prepped. He had, don't ever use the word smart with me. He had it prepped. It was ready for whenever it was that Biden, in the course of the debate, decided to use that word, he was going to unload it. It didn't matter. It didn't matter what it was. And this just so happened to come in the middle of a discussion about, 200,000 plus Americans dying, 7 million infected.
Yeah.
So it came off really poor for a number of reasons, but largely because it was during a very serious discussion. And he was trying to get a cheap shot in at something.
But you believe,
And he does it again later in the debate. The same
Put it
terrible.
up.
Thank you for saving me, boys, time. I had a computer malfunction.
No worries. We got your back, Tunney.
what he's telling you in light of all the lies he's
Pause it for a
told
second.
you about.
I'm sorry. So what he said before that, and I want to touch on it. He says, do you really believe what he's telling you? After all the lies. Go ahead.
the whole issue relating to COVID. He still hasn't even acknowledged that he knew this was happening, knew how dangerous it was going to be back in February, and he didn't even tell you. He's on record as saying it. He panicked or he just looked at the stock market, one of the two, because guess what? A lot of people died, and a lot more are going to die unless he gets a lot smarter, a lot quicker.
So,
Mr. President?
Did you use the word smart?
See, it's prepped for sure.
So you said you went to Delaware State, but you forgot the name of your college. You didn't go to Delaware State. You graduated either the lowest or almost the lowest in class. Don't ever use the word smart with me.
That's
Don't
prepped.
ever use that
Definitely
word.
went right
give me
into
a
the,
break.
Because
oh,
you
where
know
did he
what?
go? Okay,
There's
let me
nothing smart
remember.
about you, Joe. 47 years, you've done nothing.
Let's have this debate.
Positive.
If you would have had, let me just
If you could have done what I've done in 48 months in what your 48 years in office.
47.
say,
Yeah, but it's actually 48. It just, shut up. Like, it's just demoralizing, man. It really is
This
demoralizing.
whole thing is pretty demoralizing.
Because it's just a cat fight. It's not like we're about to get into some amazing policy discussion over this.
No, they're just they're talking right past each other, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
They're talking right past each other.
and Biden was making amazing points. Like, I felt comforted just now. He's got his hands out like this. He's going in for the hug and everything. But
Don't mention hugs and Biden, dude.
and then you just got Trump with like the nastiest snake, just behavior.
It was real nasty.
Did anyone key in on the flourish when he said, "Don't use smart with me"? What he like?
Don't you ever use smart with
I
me.
want to go back.
Go,
to the
yeah.
viewers.
Yeah, put it on.
I do
again.
like this clip because it's
And then after this, we'll go to the economy segment.
it's my favorite Trump part for sure. Don't ever use smart.
Because guess what? A lot of people die.
This is the comforting part
and
you're
a
talking
lot more
about.
are going to die unless he gets a lot smarter, a lot quicker.
So-
Mr. President?
So
did you use the word smart?
He leaned into it like the strong man he is.
Did you use the word smart?
Hold on. You guys got to do that again for the folks at home.
Did you just use the word smart?
so because he had to remember it, like
yeah, he had to
you're
remember the
right.
line.
He
He had
had
to
to
remember
think
the
about
line.
what the talking point was.
Could I just? Does anyone know where Donald Trump graduated?
Yeah,
Wharton.
Wharton School.
A school that his daddy paid for him to get in.
Wharton
man.
School of Business.
Yeah, man, just shut up.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say about that. You can't.
Would
can't-
you just shut up, man?
Even if Biden graduated at the bottom of his class, which I don't believe is true.
Pennsylvania. Wharton School of Business Wharton School of the University of
Donald
Pennsylvania.
Trump's father paid for him to get into that school, and also Penn State. So,
And also, like, what evidence does he have that Biden was the bottom of his class?
also,
I would like to see the release the report cards, Biden. Release the report cards.
or else.
or else we'll wait.
But yeah, so I mean that was kind of the gist of the COVID section. It was
Wait,
a lot of
but
the same.
also he went to those schools like 40 years ago. Like those grades don't matter today
No, true.
at all.
Release the cognitive test, Mr. Trump.
Or else, camel, young woman, phone,
No, person, camera. No,
The difference.
The difference is
dog.
no. What is it? Person, camera. No. Man, woman, person, camera, TV. That's what it is.
No one can take
Or
cognitive
woman,
tests
man?
like me.
Woman,
got
man?
an
I can't
A
remember it.
plus, A plus on my cognitive
Trump-
test. No one has done as well as me.
Trump is smarter than me. I can't remember it.
It's a cognitive test.
Um,
We all did well.
But yeah, let's go ahead and get started on this, the economy portion of this. Biden had a really good point here that I wanted to play. It's the 35-30.
The K-shaped recovery.
I'm Olive Garden, baby. Just tell me when.
Biden was talking about, and this is in the economy section of the coronavirus debate. So they were talking about what to do to kind of help the economy and such. And Biden, was commenting on how foolish it was to open the economy up to its fullest extent at this current moment in time. You got it, Tunney?
Florida just went full open. Heard that?
is millionaires and billionaires like him in the middle of the COVID crisis have done very well. Billionaires have made another $300 billion because of his profligate tax proposal, and he only focused on the market.
Let this one play.
But you folks at home, you folks living in Scranton and Claymont and all the small towns and working class towns in America, how well are you doing? This guy paid
Well.
a total of $750.
What?
to test
Dude,
Sir, wait,
dude,
no, sir, it's just-
what? Dude, no, dude.
Well,
Don't interrupt people.
Just shut up.
They aren't
man.
doing well.
go back.
They weren't doing well.
Yeah, I understand. You've agreed to 2 minutes, so please let him.
I like
Do I
this
get
too.
my time back? The fact is that he has, in
my
fact,
time back.
worked on this in a way that he's going to be the first president of the United States to leave office having fewer jobs in his administration than when he became president. Fewer jobs than when he became president. First one in American history. Second, the people who have lost their jobs are those people who have been on the front lines, those people who have been saving our lives, those people who have been out there dying, people who've been putting themselves in a way to make sure that we could all try to make it. And the idea that he is insisting that we go forward and open when you have almost half the states in America with a significant increase in COVID deaths and COVID cases in the United States of America. And he wants to open it up more. Why is he
Biden
wanna
keeps
open
hitting
it
his
up?
mic,
Why
though. It
doesn't
always
he
frustrates
take
me when
care
it
of America?
happens.
You can't fix the economy.
stumbling at first, but
until
he
you
gets into the
fix
flow of
COVID
it.
crisis, and he has no intention of doing anything about making it better.
That's a great line.
For
Pause it
you
for a second.
all at home.
Sorry, I think I spoke over it.
No, it's cool. I don't mind that you spoke over it. All he says is that you can't fix the economy until you fix the COVID crisis. I think it's a really good point. Go ahead and play it again.
In terms of your health and your safety. Schools. Why aren't schools open? Because it costs a lot of money to open them safely. You know, they were going to give, his administration was going to give the teachers and school students masks. And then they decided, no, couldn't do that because it's not a national emergency. Not a national
profitable.
emergency.
I couldn't believe that,
They've
dude.
done nothing to help small businesses. Nothing. They're closing. 1 in 6 is now gone. He ought to get
I think
on
those
the
numbers will be
job
higher
and
now.
take care of the needs of the American people so we can open safely.
All right, your time is up, sir. We're
No, go ahead. Play the Trump. I want you to
going
play
to
the
get to.
Trump.
The,
I
we're
have
gonna,
to respond to that.
well, you both had 2 minutes, sir.
Excuse me, he made a statement.
So did you.
People
Excuse
want their
me, he made a
schools-
statement.
No, people want their schools open. They don't want to be shut down. They don't want their
That
state
wasn't
shut down.
what any-
They want their restaurants. I look at New York. It's so sad
That's not
what's
what he's
happening in New
saying.
York. It's almost like a ghost town. And I'm
It's
not sure it can
not.
ever recover what they've done in New York. People want their places open. They want to get back to
Just wait
their
for the
life.
football comment.
They'll
Like,
be
pause
careful,
it.
Safe.
but they want their schools open.
Okay.
People want
I'm
to
the
be
one that
safe.
brought back football. By the way, I brought back Big Ten football.
Go ahead and pause it.
It was me.
The bragging never stops.
football. I brought back the football. I brought back the NFL.
I
For
brought
my
back the
son.
NFL, and then several teams tested positive for COVID.
The
like,
entire
you
team.
forgot the end portion of that brag.
I'm sorry.
But my thing on this is this. You can tell the seriousness differential between that exists between these two candidates by this clip alone. Like if we had just played this clip for the whole podcast, you would be able to tell how serious Joe Biden is about talking to the American people, about giving them the information that they need about his candidacy, to how much of a clown Donald Trump is. Fucking football?
Even Biden was trying to offer something different, like he was offering, people, we want to go back to school, but we need masks, we need the funding for it. Like, that's what he said. And that's what people want. People don't want to be online. They want the mask, they want the protection so they can do school right and safely. And Trump just says, look, we already open, we're already safe. Look at New York, it's a ghost town, but I saved it also.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't listen to that. I can't listen to that. It just doesn't make sense. It sucks my energy out.
It does. It sucks. Dude, I was stoked at the beginning of this podcast. I'm already depressed. Like, I'm already to the depressed level. But I just wanted to throw in a fact check real quick. I'm trying to do that, like, while we're on the roll, Fact check real quick in here. Trump wants to portray the U.S. economy as bouncing back at an incredible rate. The truth is, however, there are no signs that the economy will bounce back. There are millions still unemployed or furloughed as a result of the virus, and there are still millions who cannot afford their housing each month. The return to normal is much farther off than Trump thinks and poses as if it is.
I think it was beautiful that Trump was like, V-shaped, V-shaped, V-shaped. And then Biden came in with it's K-shaped. Because for people like you and your millionaires and billionaires, it's going up. And my Scranton, Ohio people, it's going down. Mm-hmm. I mean, when he gets it right, he really does get it right.
Yeah. I mean, on the reopening stuff, on the trust stuff in general, this is the same guy, I will have you all remember,
What'd he say?
that said we'd be COVID free by Easter.
That was 5 months ago, dude. That was 100+ days ago.
Yeah.
I'll see you in 100 days. Quarantine still. See ya.
Go ahead and play this next clip here, Jack Tunney.
President screwing things up.
You were a senator. And
You're
by
the
way,
worst
you were a
president
vice-
America's ever had.
Go ahead and pause it. That's all I wanted.
I knew that's what you wanted.
Okay, go to the next clip if you will. Yeah, no, I just like that because Biden is over it. Like he's gotten to the point where he's literally just saying shit. You're the worst president. You're the worst president this country.
For real
ever
though,
had.
his political correctness is just gone.
Yeah.
Especially with this next clip too. Like, I don't think he meant to say this, but it slipped.
I don't
out.
think he meant to say any of the things that were like a little off color, right? I think he wanted to come out into the stage and present himself as the, candidate with mannerisms and charming and was kind and cares about you. And I don't think he wanted to put up the image of responding to Trump's lunacy. Like, I really don't think he did, but he ended up doing it a little bit. Go ahead and blast us over here, Jack Tunney.
Blast us.
And he takes out billions of dollars. Takes out billions of dollars.
This is about
to manage.
Hunter
He
Biden.
makes millions of dollars. And also,
Simply
while we're
not
at it,
true.
why is it, just out of curiosity, the mayor of Moscow's wife gave you $3.5 million.
That's
What
not
did he
true.
do to deserve it?
That
What
is
did he do with Burisma
none
to
of that
deserve
is true.
$183,000?
None
You've
of
asked
that
a
is
question,
true.
let him answer.
None of that is true.
Oh,
It's
really? He didn't
totally,
get
No,
$3.5
hey,
million?
Mr. President.
It's
Mr.
totally-
President, please. You've
totally
asked a question.
discredited. Totally discredited. And by the way,
Well, wait,
let's
he didn't
talk-
get
No, no.
$3.5 million, Joe?
He didn't have to
Th-
ask.
th-
me.
so this is what I'm talking about. This
It
is
is
this is
not
the kind of
true.
talking
Really?
over
Mr.
that
President,
was
you-
so
it's an-
horrendous.
It's an open discussion, please.
Now,
It's a fact.
Well,
There's-
you
it is
have
not.
raised
It's a
the issue.
it's a
Let the
fact.
Vice President
Hit them
answer.
with the shrug.
discredited.
Did
There was a
Burisma pay him
report.
$183,000 a month with no experience in energy?
Mr.
Look,
President,
no
my
job.
son did nothing wrong at Burisma.
I think he
and
did.
Mr.
the only
President,
guy that
let
did
him
something-
answer.
He doesn't want to let me answer because he knows I have the truth. His position has been totally, thoroughly discredited
who?
in
The
Ukraine.
media?
By everybody. Well, by the
By the
media,
media,
by our
because they refuse to
allies, by
talk
the
about it
World
because they're
Bank,
embarrassed.
by everyone has discredited. Matter
Dude,
of fact,
Mr.
even the people
President,
who
please stop.
testified under oath.
You can see him getting ready with the hand.
No,
Yeah,
go
it's
ahead.
terrible. It's so terrible.
I would just like to say, I watched the NBC version of this, and they had a lot of shots where they would crop both of the speakers.
The candidates in.
Yeah, they would crop them in so it would be this one big screen with their faces really big. I thoroughly enjoy this Fox News angle where all three of them are in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can see everyone in the same view get anxious.
You
and
put
then
the hand
all you
up.
can-
Wait,
yeah,
dude,
all you can see is Trump.
Go to me real quick.
All you can see is Trump's hands just fidgeting up and back.
And he's got the.
Like what?
Yeah,
it's like
he's-
slowly rising.
Yeah,
too.
he's like
there's gonna be memes all over.
No,
that,
guys,
dude.
he's the kid in class
That's-
who's like too scared to ask to go to the bathroom, but he's like always trying to go.
But like, I'm sure you've debated. Maybe you've debated people that like aren't trying to get you to say your point, or maybe there's more rules in like official debate. But like, someone who's always gonna try to just poke your buttons and get you annoyed.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
that'll really have an effect on you. And
It has a major effect. So when I was debating, and actually I fell for this strategy a lot because you know how hot-headed I am. Like I get really angry really
you got to
fast.
respond to the BS that's being sent your way.
And there is a strategy in debate in crossfire, which is when you are able to ask each other questions and such, to just talk over your opponent. Just keep talking over your opponent, and it gets them frazzled, and then they make mistakes in their next speech. It's a real strategy, and it's what Trump is doing.
Yeah.
He's purposefully talking over Biden, and he's purposefully interrupting and making it difficult for him to speak because he knows that Biden has a speech impediment. He's a stutterer, and when somebody interrupts you, like even I have a stutter. If Brandon interrupts me, my line of thought is gone. It's gone. I can't get it back. So
To add on to that, this is a personal attack.
Yes.
This is not just him talking.
This
you
is
know,
him talking
bile
about his
over
son.
him. He's talking about his own son,
Yeah.
who he probably loves very much and doesn't believe that he would do anything wrong. You know.
Look, we can
We
get back
don't know
into this, but if Trump really cared about Burisma and any of that, one, he would actually listen to Biden's answer. Two, he would make sure that his kids weren't doing similar practices overseas. But anyway.
Yeah.
Are we continuing this clip?
Yeah, we could continue that clip. I'd like to go till Biden cracks a little bit, if you will.
Let's see it.
People under
You got $3.5
he
million from
testified,
Moscow.
he testified under oath in his administration, said, I did my job and I did it very well.
Oh,
I
really?
did it
I'd like
honorably.
to know who they are.
Well, I'll give you the list. The
Fire
people who
them.
testified.
No, go ahead, sir.
Sure, you've already fired most of them
Distraction.
because they did a good
because
job.
Some people don't
Well,
do a good
here's
job.
Some people.
With you,
Go
they
ahead.
say-
You get
here's the
wait a
deal.
minute. You get the final word, Mr.
Well, it's hard to get any word in with this clown.
Go ahead and
Excuse
pause
me,
it.
this-
Hey, wait a minute. He's like, hey, wait a minute.
Hey.
Whoa, clown. Whoa, I didn't do
did
anything.
I say something directed at you?
Yeah.
That's what the conservatives do. They say poke, 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 poke. Hold on. Whoa, Snowflake. Whoa. Why are you so sensitive, Snowflake? I only poked you for 400 years. And
Speaking of 400 years, let's talk about some race.
the next section was race and violence in our cities. Can we save our suburbs?
Which we love to see two old white men argue about.
We need to save our suburbs. We need to
And
protect our suburbs.
it definitely started off in the right direction. But
Personally, I don't think so, because didn't the question also?
well, the
entail
first question
that-
was okay.
the first one, but it was the
The
second
second one
that he
was
said-
after Trump had already, derailed the race topic.
Yeah, didn't he say you can answer if you want?
Well, that was after. So that clip that we just watched started a 5-minute segment of Trump just blah 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 over Biden, over I almost said Chris Matthews again, Chris Wallace, and like that was like happening basically for the full 5 minutes in between the two clips that we're going to show here. And this next clip is Biden
At the next section.
talking about equity, and I thought that this was really well put. I know that you can tell my bias by watching these clips, but I thought these were the important clips of the debate. So go ahead, Jack Tunney.
It's about equity and equality.
Pause it
It's
for 1 second.
about
I'm sorry.
decency. It's about
So Chris Wallace asks Biden, what is important for, like this race in terms of racial justice and things like that. And this is what his response was.
It was a very, not vague, but general question.
Yeah, very general question for both of them, I think. But go ahead, Jenny.
the Constitution. And we have never walked away from trying to require equity for everyone, equality for the whole of America. But we've never accomplished it. But we've never walked away from it like he has done. It is true. The reason I got in the race is when those people, close your eyes, remember what those people looked like coming out of the fields carrying torches, their veins bulging, spewing, just spewing anti-Semitic bile, and accompanied by the Ku Klux Klan. A young woman got killed. And that's the president, what he thought. He said there were very fine people on both sides. No president's ever
Finish
said
the
anything
statement.
like that.
Finish the statement.
It is who's
Now,
who
second,
in it, sir.
second point I'd make to you is that when Floyd was killed, when Mr. Floyd was killed, there was a peaceful protest in front of the White House. What did he do? He came out of his bunker, had the military use tear gas on him so he could walk across to a church, hold up a Bible. And then
Upside down.
what happened after that? The bishop of that very church said that it was a disgrace. The general who was with him said all he ever wants to do is divide people, not unite people at all. This is a president who has used everything as a dog whistle to try to generate racist hatred, racist division. This is a man who, in fact, you talk about African Americans. 1 in 1,000 African Americans has been killed because of the coronavirus. And if he doesn't do something quickly, by the end of the year, 1 in 500 will have been killed.
1 in 500, it kinda cut out there.
African-Americans. This man is the savior of African Americans. This man cares at all. This man's done virtually nothing. Look, The fact is that you have to look at what he talks about.
He's showing
you
like
have to
a
look at
understanding
what he
of the
did.
issue.
And what he did has been
Yeah, he's
disastrous
very
for the
empathetic. Go ahead, pause
African-American
it.
community.
So
President Trump, you have two.
He grasped it, like he got all of
He
it.
was able to get the idea in there.
For sure.
When I watched that, I was under the impression the Trump campaign would just cut out that last bit, and it would just be like, it was this man is for black people, and they would just cut it into a clip that made it look like Biden was endorsing.
Yeah, you'll see
Trump.
it. You'll see it.
It'll happen.
And then I don't want to play it because I'm getting tired of hearing his voice right now. But after that, Trump brings up. I'm not playing it. Trump brings up the fact that Biden was a co-sponsor on the '94 crime bill, which, as we know, had severe effects on communities of color. It is not a subject of debate. It was very damaging to communities of color. And in the policing, and a lot of the issues that we are dealing with right now stem from that '94 crime bill.
The problem is
Trump said that during the hearings on this, that Biden called African Americans super predators.
bruh.
And that's just a lie. That's a falsehood. Hillary Clinton was the one who said the super predator thing. It wasn't Joe Biden.
Why do you think he really did that though? Like how? Because I mean, of course, it's like, oh man, he just is reusing the old talking point. But
I don't know, man. He could be glitching back to 2016. You never know.
I kind of think he was just
making it up.
conflating it in his head. I don't think that he really meant to lie about it. I think that he remembered that about
Democrats, super predators.
super predators, and that whole thing. So I don't think that he really meant to lie on that one, but it was a lie.
Look, that's always going to be a terrible quote from Hillary Clinton, but also it has no effect on Joe Biden.
No.
Also, when you say that quote and we all know who actually said it, you sound like a
'cause
dumb idiot.
We remember
When you
her
used
being
it.
shit on for that very thing. Like we were all
4
there.
years ago.
We were all there.
I was there.
We were there. But anyway, let's get into the most damning piece of this particular
I'm going to tell you
debate.
this much. This section hurts my soul.
Oh, it hurt everyone's soul. Go ahead and play it here, bud.
Oh, yeah, bud?
Oh yeah, bud, go ahead and play it for us. Why don't
No,
you?
you've been talking
made
back
a
and forth.
statement.
I'm asking you.
I would love to end it.
Sir,
I would love to end it, and
You know,
we
if
would
you want to
very-
switch seats.
But
I'm-
send
no,
in the National Guard, it would be over. There'd be no
Got
problem.
him.
But they don't want to accept the National Guard.
You have repeatedly criticized the vice president for not specifically calling out Antifa and other left-wing
That's right.
extremist groups.
That's right.
But are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland?
Sure,
Are you
I'm willing
prepared
to
to
do that.
specifically
Do it.
I'm
I would
willing
say-
to.
I would say almost everything I see is from the left wing,
Oh,
not from
great
the right
apology.
wing.
So what are you
If
what are you saying?
I'm willing to do anything.
What
I
are
want
you
to see
saying?
peace.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it.
You want to call him? What do you want to call him? Give me a name.
Pause
Give
it.
me a
Pause
name.
it for a second
What
before we go
Do
in.
you wanna
Oh, the
call
terror in his eyes, man.
How can you say to that question, who do you want me to condemn? He said it. White supremacists and
Far-right
militia groups.
extremists.
Far-right militia groups. He said it. He is looking for an excuse, any excuse
Any
whatsoever
out.
here, to not say what they're trying to make him
Any
say.
out.
Go ahead.
Oh, continue.
Who would
White
you like me to condemn?
white
Proud Boys.
supremacists and right
Proud
militia.
Boys, stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what. I'll tell you.
Jeez.
Are we going to go into what that means?
Pull it back to us. Look at our
Yo.
faces.
No.
Yo.
Look at our
Look-
faces.
Look at these faces.
Jesus. It's crazy though because Proud Boys wasn't the only thing that was said. Chris Wallace. I mean, Joe Biden says Proud Boys. Chris Wallace said Proud Boys, white supremacists. He named other groups.
Yeah.
Proud Boys. Stand by.
Stand back and stand by. That's what he said. Okay.
He sounds like
Should
a
we hit him
game
with-
show host.
Pull up the definition of stand by.
Stand back and stand by.
Yeah, that doesn't mean just sit back.
Definition of standby, entry 1 of 4. One to be relied on in especially in emergencies.
the second
A
one.
favorite or reliable choice for a
A
resource.
favorite or reliable choice or resource.
That second one.
2,
holds
one
pretty
that
good.
is held in reserve, ready for use, on standby. Tell me if that's actually the president saying to those groups to not be involved in violence. That's not what I hear. That isn't what I hear. Is it what you hear, Jack Tunney?
I don't want to say anything that could be wrong, but
Wrong.
I was
Wrong.
wrong. I read somewhere, and this is why I'm really refrained from trying to say it, but it was something about in prison for white supremacists.
I read this
term
too. There was a novelist.
Stand back and stand by is
Yeah.
what you tell your boys before you're about to fuck somebody up.
Yeah, so I don't
Wait,
think
so
Trump
it
knew
might,
that.
It
but
might actually be like a phrase.
it
what
is
people are
a
saying.
phrase.
And that's another.
So there
it
was-
could be a double-edged term.
There was a novelist who came out, and this is a person. She was a lawyer for a long time. She worked in on death row with criminals to help them, appeal their cases and things. That was like her whole job. Have you ever seen the movie Just Mercy?
It's a recent movie.
Yeah, it's a recent movie. That's the kind of job that she was doing. It was going on to death row and appealing for these people who had the death penalty. And in her talks with prisoners, especially the white supremacist prisoners, she found that one of the things that they would say rather than, hey, let's not be violent, was just stand by. Don't do it. Stand by. And that basically just means when I need you, be here ready to kill people. That's
Yeah,
what it means.
That's exactly what that means.
That's what that means.
That means I see your rage. Just stand back.
stand by.
Stand by.
Wait for the right moment.
Your
It's
rage will be coming.
incredible that the president of the United States would say this to a white supremacist group on live television.
And he said it.
We had 200
He
countries
said
or 200
it.
200 counties watching. We had other countries around the world watching
The
this.
whole globe.
We're a laughingstock. We're a fucking laughingstock. And all because this president refuses to denounce evil.
And it's not even. I mean, because his excuse will be, "Oh, I didn't mean to say stand back. I don't know what stand by means."
Play the excuse.
And it's like-
it's the Twitter video.
You don't know what stand by means. You don't know what the Proud Boys are. You don't know what white supremacy is. Why are you president?
Why has your FBI head
Designated them.
designate white supremacist militias
as terrorist
as
organizations.
terrorist organizations that
And
are
Antifa-
that are the largest threat to America at its current state?
Yeah, and then that same FBI director defines Antifa as an ideology, not a group.
Also, that same
Can't hate the
FBI.
words.
That same FBI had black supremacy groups as the #1 risk in 2018.
What are black supremacists?
Find me one.
What about like
Black
it's-
Israelites.
Oh, I thought no.
Like
it's,
5% of
it's
5% of people.
I don't want to sound stupid, but like they wouldn't be referring to like the individuals who marched on Stone Mountain. Do you remember that?
What year was that? Was that 17?
No, that was like this year.
Oh.
There was a very large group of. I'm pretty sure there was completely
I don't-
black Americans.
It doesn't
No,
really
no,
matter.
they were fully armed.
I don't care.
I know.
I don't care right
I don't care, but
I
I
don't care
want
right
to.
now.
I want to know what that idea is. Black
Yeah.
supremacists.
No, white supremacists are responsible for like 9 out of 10 of the last terrorist attacks or something like that. So let's take this fucking seriously. Why don't we?
Let's see if the president can do that on Twitter.
The next day, helicopter talk. This is my favorite of Trump.
This is a conspiracy in itself.
Yeah.
Ready?
I don't know who the Proud Boys are. I mean, you'll have to give me a definition because I really don't know who they are. I can only say they have to stand down, let law enforcement do their
He
work.
said stand down this
Law
time.
When you learn
enforcement
a
will
new
do
word.
the work more and more. As people see how bad this radical liberal Democrat movement is and how weak, the law enforcement's going to come back stronger and stronger. But again, I don't know who Proud Boys are, but whoever they are, they have to stand down, let law enforcement do their work.
Mr. President, in this speech when you said stand by, that's my first question.
Just stand by. Look, law enforcement will do their work. They're going to stand down. They have to stand down. Everybody. They have to stand, whatever group you're talking about, let law enforcement do
You
the
saw
work.
how he literally
Now,
So
threw.
weak.
Antifa
He threw her
is a real
comment.
problem.
He threw her comment.
Because the
He threw
problem
it.
is on the left. And Biden refuses to talk about it. He refuses to issue the words law and order. You saw that last night when he choked up. He can't say the
said
words
it.
because he'll lose the
He
rest
said
of the
it
left.
twice.
He
And
also
said law
defined
enforcement, too.
Antifa.
Yeah.
He's got to condemn
Well.
Antifa. Antifa's a very bad group.
Yeah. So he tried to walk that back a little bit. I think he was pretty unsuccessful. What do you think, Brandon?
I think it's hilarious when he walks it back and then in the process of walking it back agrees with himself again.
Yes.
He's like, stand by.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Good. Stand by.
I still kind of agree with that, but
but it-
also stand down.
Stand by.
Stand by, stand back, stand down, do all of it. Just stand.
All of the things.
Stand for me as long as you're standing for me.
And go watch the polls and intimidate people.
It's crazy that
Go illegally crowd a polling station so that you can keep watching.
I think we're going to talk about that a little bit more.
not only is he an idiot, but he can't even like defend himself.
Nope. So that's race for this segment on the PB&J podcast.
Did anybody
Wow.
realize how they barely actually talked about race or
Yes.
anything involving black empowerment or
That sounds like two old white men talking about race.
does that sound like anything is going to change for us?
Nope.
I mean, it's
But
just
I'm
let's
sorry
see
to
them
say
talk
it,
up
but no,
themselves.
Brandon.
I like to see old white men talk up themselves. Let's see how that goes for them, Jack Tunney.
Oh boy.
I like to see this. Let's go.
That's
Because there has never been an administration or president who has done more than I've done in a period of 3.5 years. And
just-
that's
what kind of
despite
claim
the
is that?
impeachment hoax.
also, like, what
and
does
you
that
saw what
even
happened
mean?
today with Hillary Clinton, where it was a whole big con job.
No,
But
no.
despite going
Pause it
through
for
all
a
of
second.
these
because he said
It's not
that's
just
what I wanna know.
just every black person. He said, I have done more than any president has in 3.5 years. What does that mean?
What
He's
about-
passed more bills? Does that mean he's signed more executive orders, made more trade deals? What did he do?
I think he's played more golf.
what about the president that won like
Sat
World War
on
II?
His ass.
Yeah, what about FDR during the Great Depression?
Yeah,
what
he did
about
a lot.
What about Abraham Lincoln, who spent his entire first term fighting against slavery and fighting against a rebel Confederate force in the South?
And,
What about
and he didn't even support it himself. He
What about
literally
Lyndon Johnson?
He put the Union before himself.
yeah?
Lyndon Johnson.
He didn't even know if he believed that black people should have a right to
Well,
vote or
that
anything.
that is not entirely true.
Yeah,
he,
we don't.
he-
That's something we don't really know.
all he said at the begin. So he said at the beginning of the war that he would welcome the South back with all slaves in chains. Okay, he did say that, but the reason that he said that was so to ensure that the border states, places that could have gone over to the Confederacy but ended up staying in the Union, did not go over to the Confederacy. So I would. You're right. He has writings that say that
There's
you know
just a
he would have
lie.
been fine with the practice of slavery. I don't know if it's a lie, but those comments were made for political purpose.
There's no reason you should bring up Abraham Lincoln when you talk about race in
But
2020.
we also got Lyndon B.
We're-
Johnson,
We're way
Lyndon
past
B.
all
Johnson,
who is a literal racist.
Barack Obama, who fixed an economic disaster in the first 2 years of
I mean,
office.
my point though is that Lyndon B. Johnson, literal racist, did so much to improve civil rights,
Yes, actual racist.
and
How do you beat that?
Trump, Trump cannot beat that. Sorry, Trump, you have less points than that guy.
But yeah, go ahead and keep playing it. I want to let these guys talk themselves up. I enjoy it.
Didn't transition.
I've done more. Get rewinded a little bit too. Just let
things
it.
where I had a fight, and that's despite the impeachment hoax. And you saw what happened today with Hillary Clinton, where it was a whole.
I don't
big
know what he's
con
talking
I don't know
about
what
here.
that means.
But despite
The
going
whole
through
big
all
con
of
job. I
these
don't know what he
things where
means.
I
I'm
had
gonna have to look that up.
She was on
both
MSNBC
flanks and
before the.
behind me and above. There has never been an administration that's done what I've done. The greatest
Like
before
what?
COVID came in, the greatest economy in history, lowest
true?
unemployment numbers, everything.
Not entirely true.
I just realized. You said Hillary was on MSNBC earlier before the debate.
Yeah.
You're telling me Donald Trump was sitting in front of his TV
Watching
watching
MSNBC before.
going on a debate.
Yeah, that's exactly what
It's
we're
a
telling
big
you.
con
That's all I
job.
wanted to.
I gotta
clarify.
figure out what they're saying about me, so I know exactly what to attack against.
But yeah,
And by the way, there was unity going to happen. People
unity
were
going to
calling me
happen?
for the
People
first
were
time in
calling
years,
me.
they were
What
calling,
people?
And they were saying,
Unity.
it's time maybe, and then what happened? We got hit, but now we're building
It's
it back
time
up again.
maybe?
A rebuilding of
Maybe.
the military, including Space Force and all of the other things. A fixing of the
Brandon's
the
head
VA,
just hit the
which
fucking
was
mic.
a mess under him.
He's going through it right now.
308,000 people died because they didn't have proper health care. He was a mess. And we now got a 91% approval rating.
Oh, Biden
at
just
the
said it
VA. Our
wrong.
vets. We take care of our vets. But we've rebuilt our military. The job that
Rebuilt
we've
the
done-
military.
And I'll tell you, some people say maybe the most important. By the end of the first term, I'll have approximately 300 federal judges.
This is a really
and
good
Court of
point, actually,
Appeals
from Trump.
judges, 300.
Judges
and
is the only thing
hopefully
he's done.
3 great Supreme Court judges, justices. That is a record, the likes of which
It
very
is.
few people.
Yes.
And you know one of the
And then he
reasons I
disses
have so
Obama.
many judges?
Yes.
Because President Obama and him left me
him.
128 judges. to
That is
fill.
shameful,
When you
though.
leave office,
That's
you don't
shameful
leave
that they
any
left
judges. That's like
openings
you
in the
just don't
federal
do that.
circuit.
They left 128 openings, and if I were a member of his party, because they have a little different philosophy, I'd say if you left us 128 openings, you can't be a good president. You can't be a good vice president.
Ouch.
But I want to thank
That
you
is
because
ow.
it gives
That
us
is a hit.
almost. It'll probably
if
be
they
above that number
listened
by
to
the
the
end
people
of
and
this
waited
term.
for the next election.
300 judges. It's a record.
Looking
It's a
at both
record.
your records, why did voters elect you president
He only-
as opposed to
Pause
President
it.
Pause it,
Trump?
pause
You
it.
have 2
He
minutes.
only made one quantifiable.
Yeah, it was the
Thing.
judge thing.
Yeah. Like we've
So
America
and on
has-
the economy, you asked me earlier. I remembered you said, is that true? Is it the greatest economy that the world has ever seen?
America's had good economies before.
So by the standard that he had the lowest unemployment for a time, and he had one of the highest stock market numbers for a time, yes, it's true. But what is conflated about this is that generally, unless there's a massive depression, the next president's economy is
gonna
going to be
stock
better.
market, Yeah.
And Obama spent his all 8 years fighting out of the hole that was a recession, right?
Do you think Trump is literally like at home like my stock market is way better than Abraham Lincoln's stock market?
Maybe. He could very well be.
Maybe.
He could very well be.
Maybe. Jesus.
And it is. He's right. It is better than Abraham Lincoln's stock market. So good for
point.
you.
Yeah,
Good for you, buddy.
It's as if we've been on a trend upward this entire time.
It's as if capitalist economies are supposed to trend upwards
2 points for Trump.
as the population expands.
It's as if I remember my economy homework. Oh yes, it goes
Play
up
it.
and down.
It's uninterrupted.
Under this president, we become weaker, sicker, poorer, more divided, and more violent.
Accurate.
When I was vice president,
Hit it.
we inherited a
No, I meant
recession.
it's a hit from
I
Biden.
was asked to fix it. I did. We left him a booming economy, and he
A boom,
caused
boom?
a recession. With regard to
I
being
don't
weaker,
remember that from
the
economy
fact
class,
is
but
that
yes.
I've gone head to head with Putin.
No, that's just a
Made
glitch
it
of the
clear to
video.
him we're not
That's
going to
wrong.
take any of his stuff. He's Putin's puppy. He still refuses
Nice.
to even say anything to Putin about the bounty on the heads of American soldiers.
He
Your son
didn't.
got
No, no,
$3.5
no.
million dollars.
That's right.
No.
By the way,
Flawless.
my son-
There it is. I'm just bringing this up one more time.
Every-
Anytime that
every time.
Russia is ever brought up in the conversation, Donald Trump has to deflect. He has to say, "Oh, what about Hunter Biden?
What about
because
ism?"
that is the only connection Biden truly has to anything Russian oriented, right? Like
And
that's-
it's not even Russian. He's Ukrainian.
Yeah, it's Ukrainian. It's not even the Russian delegates who may be the ones controlling the Ukraine people, but we don't know that. It's still out of nowhere. It's in a way to push your concentration.
And I will say
on what's
again,
being said,
I don't know if I've said this already, but this claim is at the very least unsubstantiated. They have no real evidence to prove that what Trump claims here actually happened. Okay, there is a Senate report.
There's that Senate report that came out.
Yeah,
Some people consider it partisan, but
it's extremely partisan.
some people consider it valid, as people know. In our time right now, half of the country considers something true and half of the country considers something fake. Yeah. And so,
But yeah, it's at the very least, and we had a debate about this before the show. At the very least, it's unsubstantiated. This claim. Go.
and all of that stuff is hypocritical because
and irrelevant to the election.
and completely irrelevant. Like,
Yeah.
Trump is corrupt. Like, people are not voting in this election about who is more or less corrupt. It's about getting him out of office. Like,
Definitely.
the corruption is like a number 4 issue. Like, literally,
No, I would put it in the tens, bro. The teens.
corruption is my number 4 issue.
Okay. Go ahead. I wanna see this. This
Wait a
is
minute.
shameful.
The president, your campaign agreed to both sides would get 2 answers uninterrupted. Well, your side agreed to it, and why don't you observe what your campaign agreed to as a ground rule, okay, sir?
He never keeps his word. Can
Because-
you add
No,
back
no,
He's
I'm
a
not
person
asking.
that's
That
not
was a
yelling
rhetorical
at the
question.
Can you
Go
add
ahead,
back
sir.
30 seconds?
Yes, you
Okay.
may have.
All right.
Go ahead.
So, thirdly, we're poor. The billionaires have gotten much more wealthy by a tune of over $300 to $400 billion more just since COVID. You in the home, you got less. You're in more trouble than you were before. In terms of being more violent, when we were in office, there were 15% less violence in America than there is today. He's president of the United States. It's on his watch. And with regard to more divided, the nation can't stay divided. We can't be this way. And speaking of my son, the way you talk about the military, the way you talk about them being losers and being and just being suckers. My son was in Iraq. He spent a year there. He got the Bronze Star. He got the Conspicuous Service Medal. He was not a loser. He was a patriot, and the people left behind there were heroes.
Oh,
And
really?
I resent-
Pause it
Talking
for
about
1
Hitler?
second. The fact that Donald J. Trump responded to a denouncement of him about his words about the military, and Biden being very emotional here and saying, my son, who served in the military, who got a Bronze Star, who was a great person, he is not a sucker, he is not a loser. And then Trump responds, oh, really? Oh, really?
I mean,
I have no words.
you know, it's hard to be surprised because I've seen Trump be so unsympathetic to coronavirus for this long. But, you know, just seeing him jump in and butt in, even on that sad story. And then he comes in with, oh, yeah, isn't that the son that did all this and got kicked out?
Yeah.
And then it's
play
like,
it's just, I can't speak enough to
there's
this.
no respect.
Man, he has no respect for the military, and then he talks about the VA, and we all know what's going on in the VA.
Horrible
He's
shit.
attempting to make it a public option, which I personally think is disgusting, because why would you ask any more from people who have defended your country? Why would you want to take their money and give it to a company when the government should be paying for that? The government should be taking care of you because you took care of this country. But I'll play it.
I'm talking about my son, Beau Biden. You're talking about
I don't know, Bo. I know Hunter.
Yeah, I
Hunter
know,
got
Bo.
thrown. Hunter got thrown out of the military.
it's disgusting,
He was
dude.
thrown out, dishonorably discharged.
That's not true. He
For
wasn't dishonorably
cocaine
discharged.
use, and he didn't have a job until you became vice president. And once you
None of
became
that
vice
is
president,
true.
he made a fortune in Ukraine,
He's actually an
in
idiot.
China, in Moscow,
That is simply
and various
not
other places.
true.
He
My
made a
son-
fortune,
My son.
and he didn't have a job.
My son, like a lot of people, like
How
a
is
lot
he,
of
like,
people
not
you know at
breaking
home,
down
who had
emotionally?
a drug problem. He's overtaken it. He's fixed it. He's worked on it, and I'm
Beautiful.
proud
It's
of him.
true.
But why
I'm
was he
proud of
given
my
tens
son.
of millions
All
of
right.
But
dollars?
he wasn't
Pa-
given
pause it,
tens of millions
pause
of
it.
dollars. That
Tens
is
of
totally.
I don't want to listen to Trump bile right now, but
It hurts.
that, you know, as much as I thought it couldn't get lower than the failure to condemn white supremacy, like, that was pretty low. That was pretty low. He attacked the man's son. He said that he was dishonorably discharged, which isn't true, from the military for cocaine use. He was discharged from the military. He did have a drug problem.
And what about all the other people in the country that have drug problems? Does Trump not
bro,
relate to those
there's
people?
a massive drug problem in this country right now. It's
I think
massive.
they called it the opioid epidemic.
Yeah, well, it's not just opioids.
Well, I know.
though.
I'm talking.
It's-
That was a grand scaled one that
Yeah.
got picked
But,
up
I
after
mean-
a very long time, and I say this because I was personally affected by that.
Yeah.
It was-
I have family in the Midwest who would walk around with plastic bags full of pills, and
That's
they're
so terrible.
and I'll tell you this much: there isn't much to do in Wisconsin, so you're drinking anyway. So you got people taking pills they don't know the name of, they only know the color, and they're drinking with it, and this kills people. And it took so long for this to become a public thing that was known that
And
think
he
that
has no
anything
answer for
about-
it.
Yeah, like if there's anything you say about drug abuse, you say we need to stop it. It needs to stop. You don't make fun of somebody for that. That's completely irrational. And I know that's
And-
we're far from rational here, but
He's
if
just
you're
trying to
gonna be
do this
personal,
character
it's just-
shaming.
It's character exactly, Brandon. You said it
And-
it perfect. There's character shaming in this, and there's no reason to character shame a man's son.
No.
At a debate.
Well, for one thing, Hunter Biden is not running to be president of the United States. And I said the same thing about Hillary and Bill in 2016. Bill Clinton was not running for president. Stop talking to me about Bill Clinton. I don't care what he did. Okay? He's not going to be president. Talk to me about Hillary. Same thing here. Talk to me about Joe Biden. If you have nothing bad on Joe Biden that you're resorting to his son in an unfounded conspiracy theory to talk shit on this person, like,
Oh, my bad.
it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
It's
what
just
is
not
happening.
relevant when neither of them have any plan for answering to corruption. Like,
Yeah.
and Trump is the source of the swamp. You know, I'm gonna drain the swamp. He is the source of the swamp. So
That man's Shrek, just not in a lovable way.
He does.
No-
he does vaguely.
nothing he can say is valid, especially when
He just really doesn't like donkeys.
But yeah, I just thought that was despicable.
one second he's saying I support the troops, the next second he's dissing the troops for the pain that they go through. One second he's saying he supports
And let's
the
talk
health
about
and
drug
addiction.
abuse in veterans. That's a huge issue with veterans, in especially homeless vets, is drug abuse in like opioids, like you mentioned. Cocaine is one of them.
corporate culture in general.
Yeah. So I mean, there are tons of people that struggle with this, and he just shit on all of them
I
by
did a,
by saying that.
well, interestingly enough, I portrayed a character from a scene.
Bruh,
It was called Hatful of Rain.
bruh.
And yes, Brandon, bruh, I bring in this because this is about drug abuse. It was a play written after World War II, when a pilot, I believe he was a pilot or a fighter, he came back, and he was addicted to morphine. Because it
That's
made
the
him-
other one I was gonna
yeah,
mention.
because it makes I've been on it before when I was sick. It it glows.
Me too.
It
It's some
glows.
good shit.
That's not what needs to be
It's
said,
some
Peter.
good
Peter,
shit.
I'm being serious.
No,
Peter, I'm
listen.
being
This is a
serious.
good point, actually. though.
I broke my leg so bad
Yeah, you had
in
it
my
worse.
the summer between freshman and sophomore year. They put me on morphine. I'd like the paramedics showed up. I was on morphine within 5 minutes of the paramedics show up. That's how bad the break was. And I have to say, I didn't feel any pain that first day because of that morphine. And that's why
truly
it's so
puts it away.
addictive.
It puts it away.
Because-
It gives you a gold feeling. I felt that.
Yeah.
You feel $1,000,000.
Yeah, you feel like you're like completely lifted off the ground. It's like heavenly. It's literally heavenly.
I wasn't sure about this point at first, but it is a good point because morphine, people don't ask to get addicted to that.
No.
You had a crazy injury and you loved it. Like,
Yes.
that review was a great review. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I loved it.
The only reason I didn't enjoy it was because I had mono and I was choking.
oh, no.
Like pretty much was my
Did
throat
I
was
also get
attempting to close
when
itself.
when I was on morphine, I got like a super metallic taste in my mouth
That's
too.
true. That happens.
That it gets you get your mouth like dries up and then it gets super metallic-y. But enough about our morphine experiences. Yeah, so this next section is the environment. We had a couple clips that we were going to play, but I don't think we're going to play them.
It's simple.
We're a little short on time here, so I think it'd just be better if I explained a little bit of what
Can
they
I do
talked
it?
about. Yeah, do it.
He said, Chris Wallace asked the question, what are your plans
Don't
for,
you mean Chris Matthews?
what are your
I'm gonna
plans for
stop
the
you right
environment? What are your plans for cleaning, climate change?
Right.
He says, well, personally, I'm always in favor of that clean air, immaculate water,
He used the word
immaculate,
immaculate.
clean air. This is the same guy.
Immaculate.
This is the same guy who is rescinding the Clean Air Act, rescinding the Clean Water Act from the EPA, and
Pulling out of the Paris Agreement.
pulling out. I mean, that also, but the EPA stuff has direct consequences on the country today.
It's just the generalities that Trump always does, right? It's like we want clean water, we want law and order, we want
I mean, it's
clean coal. You remember that shit?
It's like, okay, you can say, I want clean air, clean water if you leave the house and go make the water clean. If you go make it immaculate. But you can't just say, haven't I made it immaculate over the last 4 years when we've seen everything you've done? Like, it's just BS, and we see right through
I
it.
would like to say, though, in this environmental section, Trump does finally, after many, many years of denying it, admit that humans, at the very least, to
Kind
an
of.
extent, are causing climate change. That's what he said.
Chris Wallace had to, force it out of him.
Definitely.
Like the white supremacy thing.
Yeah. Well, you have to force everything out of Trump.
You know how he's like, oh, name any white supremacy group. Trump is like, name any climate change chemical. He's name any, and I'll call them out.
Okay. Methane.
Methane, I need you to stand back and stand by.
No.
My cows.
They're trying to take the cows.
Oh yeah. No. This is the new name. This is the new name. Okay. Donald, take out the cows. Trump.
They're gonna take out your cows.
They're taking out the cow.
I mean,
They're
I'm
gonna
gonna
take your
take that
cars.
personally. My grandfather was a cattle dealer. They're not taking my cattle.
They're not taking any cows, bro.
I don't think they want cows.
No, there is a thing about cows, and they release a lot of methane, and that it's
Yeah.
harmful to the environment and the way that we farm them. But
Yeah, and also is when they it's like mass incarceration of cows. You're sticking in the
yeah,
tiny.
cows are people too.
Cows are people too, Brandon. They stick them in pens where they don't have an inch to themselves, and they poop everywhere. And
I'll
that's
reveal
what
a little bit
causes
something.
global warming. It's weird. It doesn't make sense, but because our economy is so based on beef, and we eat so much beef, we have so much methane.
You guys ever see those old Wendy's commercials? Where's the beef? No?
No.
Am I the only one?
I think so.
Pull it up. No, don't pull it up.
No, but basically, in this environmental section, it became very clear that Trump values the dollar over the environment, and that he will say these pleasantries and these niceties in order to get past the question, but he doesn't mean any of it.
Has no intention of pushing companies to be safer,
No.
which is what I want if we are forced to continue producing these, kinds of, chemicals, that kind of thing.
But also, too, Green New Deal and Biden's plan, differences in that. That was kind of highlighted in this section.
Are
What
you
do
gonna watch
think?
that clip?
I don't really want to.
That clip would take a little while.
It takes a lot. That's like a
feel bad for
4-minute
him.
clip.
I mean, that was really Trump just messing with Biden. Like,
It was another attempt to stick him as a socialist.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, that Green New Deal, that's your deal, right?" And then
Look,
Biden had to
but-
make it very clear that it was Biden's plan.
So Biden's plan has aspects of the Green New Deal in it, and also, like, the Green New Deal could theoretically pass and go to Biden's desk even if he wants nothing to do with it. So I'm not too worried about that. I know people, the progressives on Twitter. I'm on Twitter. The progressive on Twitter are up in arms right now because they're like, Biden's not gonna protect our environment, and no, not to the fullest extent that we wanted. But look at the alternative. He's a guy who's removed ourselves from the Paris Accords. He's stripping our EPA of any power. He put a guy in charge of the EPA who doesn't believe in global warming.
yeah.
So your arguments are useless. Your arguments are invalid. You crazy radicals on Twitter.
Bruh. Okay, the problem is that we are looking for answers that aren't being, given to us. Like
Yeah.
it's literally like we have an A or B choice for like a question, and it's like neither of those answers are like accurate enough. So we gotta oh, I guess it's B. I guess it's Democrat. Sure. I mean,
Yeah, no. So what
So
I'm
that-
saying,
that's
what-
kinda
you
how
can
they-
you can be upset about this.
Yeah.
That's not my point. I'm upset about this. My point is that you shouldn't, because of this.
look, I'm gonna say something.
Say,
I'm so far left that if the government wanted to ban beef and could get the votes for it,
you'd
fuck it.
yeah. Okay, same.
We would benefit from it we could,
Plus,
start
we could
doing
replace beef with other things. Like
vegetables, beans, more
Yeah,
sustainable
there's
economy.
a soy-
synthetic meats
Yeah,
and
there's a
stuff.
synthetic soy recipe where you can make
and
beef
black bean.
that tastes exactly.
I mean,
like
not
beef.
even. I'm not talking about like replacing it with science. I'm just saying, if the government wanted to control my diet,
Yeah, you don't care. That's what you're saying.
stop selling fake McDonald's meat that I'm gonna eat after this show.
Yeah, we're going to McDonald's.
I'm
right
going.
After this.
Not
We're
me.
gonna get the Travis burger.
Let's keep going.
But yeah, let's move on to the next section. We are in this, bro. Oh my god.
I
The
have-
milk will be
I've
short,
skipped-
I think.
I've skipped the. I'm in election.
Yeah, election integrity. The time should be 1 hour, 31 minutes, and 42 seconds. This is the most important question in this debate,
I hope you're all ready.
From his perspective.
from my perspective.
Will you urge your supporters to stay calm during
stand
this
by.
extended period, not to engage in any civil unrest? And will you pledge tonight that
keep
you
it
will
playing,
not
Jack Tunney.
declare victory until the election has been independently certified? President
Great
Trump,
question.
you
I'm
go
urging
first.
my supporters to go into the polls and watch very carefully.
Not an answer to the question,
Joe.
and in fact,
I am
inciting
urging them to do
more
it.
violence.
As you know, today there was a big problem. In
voter
Philadelphia, They
intimidation.
went in to watch. They're called poll watchers. A very safe, very nice thing.
Very
They
safe,
were
very
thrown
nice.
out. They weren't allowed to watch.
They were
you know
yelling.
why? Because bad things happen in Philadelphia. Bad things. And I am urging my people. I hope it's going to be a fair election. If it's a fair
You're urging
election,
them what?
I am 100% on board. But if I see tens of
Urging them
thousands
to
of
what?
ballots being manipulated, I can't go along with that. And I'll
What?
tell you
What
what,
does that
from
mean,
a
not go
common
along?
sense,
Does that mean
I'll
you're gonna
tell you
tell
what
your
it means.
people to take to the
It means you
street?
have a fraudulent election. You're
And what
sending
are you
out
gonna
80
do?
Oh.
million
What would you
ballots.
do
They're
about
not.
that?
They're not equipped.
Yeah,
to,
like
Dude.
what is?
These people aren't
what are
equipped to
you,
handle it.
the head
Number
of
one.
the executive
Number two,
branch,
they
gonna
cheat.
do about a
They
fraudulent
cheat.
election?
Hey,
like,
they found
don't you know you
ballots
can,
in a
like, do
waste
stuff about
paper
that?
basket 3 days ago. and
Skip
they
ahead
all
to
had
Biden's
a
bit.
military ballot.
Counted, and will you pledge not to declare victory
you ready for
until
the
the
correct
election?
I'm
is
melting.
independently
Yeah, this is the correct answer.
You can't see
Here's
me
the
right
deal.
now.
Go
I'm
pull
melting.
it back, pull it back.
Until
ready?
the election is independently certified.
Yes.
That is all you need, ladies and gentlemen.
The perfect answer.
The perfect answer. It's one word.
No, but go ahead and play the rest because I think it's important.
It is very important.
Here's the deal. The count ballots, as you pointed out, some of these ballots in some states can't even be opened until Election Day. And if there's thousands of ballots, going to take time to do it. And by the way, our military, they've been voting by ballots since the end of the Civil War, in effect. Yes. And that's what's going to happen. Why was it not? Why is it for them somehow not fraudulent? It's the same process. It's honest. No one has established at all that there is fraud related to mail-in ballots. That somehow it's a fraudulent process.
It's already been established.
It's-
Look at Carol Maloney's race.
Dude.
And Biden goes on to say,
Just
That-
saying whatever, dude.
I was waiting for the wrong.
wrong.
It's
Actually,
already been certified.
I think a later clip shows off what I want. So go ahead and shoot it back to us. I have an argument to make in this segment of the show. Okay.
Well, you make it quick.
I will. Yeah,
Gotta.
we're in
I'm
pretty
not-
deep, but this is going to
I'm
be a
not
2-hour
trying.
pluser already.
Yeah,
like
I'm not
we're in
trying
it.
to rush you, but
Um,
rush.
So it's a big night. It's like with the Super Bowl. It's like the Super Bowl. Okay, like I said last
You
week.
did say that.
This is like the Super Bowl for me. Okay, and I really dive deep into these things, and I think it's important what I've mentioned so far. I hope that you agree.
It's
with
like
me.
it's like a 3-7 Super Bowl.
Yeah. But let's talk about Trump and his plans regarding this election. And I think if you watch some of these clips in a certain order and you take in some of the ideas in a certain order,
In totality.
it becomes apparent what this man wishes to do with this election. So the first thing is he wants to cast doubt on the election because he thinks that he is losing. Go ahead and play this clip, Jack Tunney. This is a little earlier in the debate from where we were.
Thank you for the clips, Jack.
Yeah, you're
In
big
Creeks,
job
They
today.
found the name Trump just happened to have the name Trump
Just happened to.
the other day in a waste paper basket. They're being sent all over
call
the
trash
place.
cans waste
They
paper?
sent 2 in a different area. They sent out 1,000 ballots. Everybody got 2 ballots.
What
this
world
is
is
going
this
to be a
man, man?
fraud
How are you
like
supposed
you've
to
never
connect to
seen.
people when you
The
can't
other
even say
it's
trash
nice
can?
on November 3rd. You're watching and you see who won the election. And I think we're going to do well because people are really happy with the job we've done. But you know what? We won't know. We might not know for months.
Go ahead and
because
pause it.
These ballots are going to be.
So there, what he does is he casts doubt on the election, right? He's saying they're sending 2 ballots out instead. But by the way, all of this is false.
Yeah, what?
100% of what he said
2 ballots out?
in that clip is false. That they're sending 2 ballots out, that there's tons of fraud, that they're throwing away certain mail-in ballots.
He's saying that if your mail-in ballot gets there after the election, but it was sent before, like he was saying, they're taking ballots until November 10th. Yes, because if your ballot was sent,
before November 3rd.
as long as it was
in
sent
some
before.
states. Here in California, you have to send your ballot a week before the election. That's a fact for you Californians.
I just had a key note to think about. When has the idea of mail-in ballots ever been such a key point on someone's running? Have you ever heard the words mail-in ballots used so much?
Not in a single election
not in a
ever
campaign.
in history.
You know why? Because it's worked.
It works.
It works so you don't talk about it. So when you hear this guy talking about it every day and night, it makes me believe that he is attempting to fraudulate this election.
So that's the first part, right? He's casting doubt on the election. He's making it look like it's going to be a fraud.
It'll be
the
months.
second part is voter intimidation. This happens the day of the election, or depending on the state that you're in, it could be the couple days before your election. He asked in the segment earlier, as we showed in the clip, that his supporters, he urged, not even asked, urged his supporters to go out and watch the polls, to sit at the poll stations and watch what they're doing.
I like when Chris Wallace
That's
says,
an intimidation tactic.
urge them to what? He was horrified.
Hey, Peter Whitehead, could you remind us of the what's like the general rules at a polling station?
Yeah, so you have to keep your distance from the polling station in general because they don't want just like a bunch of people around, obviously.
Hanging out. Not social
Also,
distancing.
in general, or also, you're not allowed to wear any campaign gear of any kind. If you wear a Trump shirt, you wear a Trump hat, you wear Trump shoes. If you got Trump tattooed on your ass, none of that is acceptable.
We even covered that in the milk one day.
Yeah.
With the topless girl who took her shirt off to vote.
Yeah. So the fact that Trump wants his supporters to come out in fucking droves and sit at these polling stations across the world, which, by the way, like, that's a COVID problem too.
Well, COVID's fake to them. It's a pandemic.
As I saw at Vaughn's right before this show.
Wait.
So voter intimidation.
Find out in the post.
The third thing is that he is going to declare victory on election night. He said that in that clip that I showed you at the beginning of this little segment here. He said, it used to be that you would know the results of the election on election night, and I think we're going to do very well. He's setting that up. Don't discount me here. Then he's going to get a sympathetic Supreme Court. That's what he's doing with the Supreme Court nomination.
All things he said in the debate.
These are all things he said just during the debate, guys. He said earlier in the debate, 3 justices he himself nominated may very well be on the court at the time of this decision. And then, of course, he is going to litigate it all the way up to the Supreme Court, just like they did in 2000 with the Gore-Bush election.
Something that they literally talked about.
Go ahead and play this.
All over. Take a look at what happened in Manhattan. Take a look at what happened in New Jersey. Take a look at what happened in Virginia and other places.
What's the timestamp
This
on
is
it?
I'm sorry.
We skipped this.
Yeah, no, skip ahead to 128:16.
Yeah, we skipped a clip.
My bad.
Have gone out. What are you going to do about it? And are you counting on the Supreme Court, including a Justice Barrett, to settle any
Great question.
dispute?
Yeah, I think I'm counting on them to look at the ballots, definitely. I hope we don't need them in terms of the election itself.
I hope.
But for the ballots, I think so. Because
think
what's
so.
happening is incredible. I
Go ahead,
just
pause
heard,
it.
I read today, where at least one
He's going to.
So that's all but a confirmation to me, especially with the way that Trump talks. He's always saying, "Oh, we might do this. Maybe we'll have to do that. We're looking at this." That's it. Trump is saying that he's going to do
He's
that.
declaring his intentions.
Yeah. So in the case that this happens, you could see a lot of dangerous situations coming
The
from
pieces
that.
are there, and
Yeah.
they're moving in that not in the general direction, specifically towards a goal, which is making sure that the election is.
And that's all like we said, all of those clips are from the debate alone.
Yeah.
All of those talking points, all
Of
of those
the-
things that I mentioned,
This week,
this week debate alone.
and it's moving. Like I mean, Supreme Court, he's probably going to be able to put that justice in. The election, people are voting right now. Maybe a Trump voter mailed in their ballot already, hypothetically. And now they watch that debate and they don't want to vote for him anymore, but they already mailed it in. People have voted, you know? Mm-hmm. So we are running out of time. And the fact that so many mail-in ballots are happening means that these debates may not be able to actually change that much.
No, I'm still trying to watch all of them, though.
Oh, no, yeah.
We'll do shorter segments on them next time because we are rapidly approaching 2 hours.
Well, because if at one point, they slip and, Joe Biden's skin falls off, he's a lizard man, how am I supposed to vote for that?
My skin fell off watching.
For real. I'm
100%,
melting.
Brandon.
So I just wanted to get some final thoughts on this debate. Brandon, you wanna go ahead? What are your final thoughts here?
Well, I was just, going back to what I said a little bit earlier, just kind of demoralizing, I would say. Watching it again today, just now, was definitely focused on some of the great Biden parts because he did have a lot of highlights.
He did. He had some good moments.
And a lot of times it's very easy to focus on the stumbling and maybe not always...
The gaffes.
Maybe not always just saying the perfect message.
Yeah.
And because, someone our age could probably word it perfectly for the social media clip. So... But there are so many good parts compared to Trump's absolutely worst moments. Yeah. I'd say he had 3 of his worst moments in that debate.
There was only really one thing that I was able to say, okay, Trump, that was a good point, and that was the court nominations and stuff. That was the only thing.
It's their main thing. It's how they expect to win, especially now that they have the Supreme Court opening. That's all they really have.
They're betting on it. Yeah.
I mean, what are they going to do with healthcare?
Nothing.
Public option?
They lost on the COVID stuff. They're
lost on COVID. Oh yeah, let's go through who do you think won?
I don't know if there's a winner, but there's certainly a loser, and it's us.
Yeah, I saw that one. There were no winners, and the losers were the American people.
I also think Trump won the Supreme Court segment just because he's like, what? I got the ball.
Yeah, he's like, I got the ball. Yeah, I think he won that. I think Biden won healthcare.
No, yeah, Biden definitely.
Biden won COVID-19 response. Biden won economy.
Yeah.
I think nobody won race. I think they were both pretty.
Biden was like,
don't even talk about it.
I think nobody won the political record thing because they made that such a shit show.
Trump saying, "You don't even know the suburbs."
Yeah. I lived in the suburbs. Biden's like, I grew up in a suburb. Where did you grow up? Oh, a mansion. That's right.
Top of Trump Tower, eh?
Hey.
But my thoughts on this were, I mean, so this debate was nasty and depressing and disturbing and any other, many adjectives that you could apply to this.
I am one of the people that got up and stopped watching.
Yeah, a lot of people did. A lot of Americans had to stop watching. And overall, the debate was just not very good, But I think that it is very important to make the distinction here, okay? Donald J. Trump is the reason that debate was so difficult to watch. Yeah. It wasn't Joe Biden. He interrupted Joe and the moderators more times than Joe interrupted him or the moderator by a large margin. He lied through his teeth throughout the whole debate and made aggressive attacks on Joe Biden's family. It was disgraceful.
It was not cool.
Yeah, that was something I wanted to ask. Did you guys notice, does Joe Biden ever bring up anybody else besides Trump when he's talking?
He did in the debate because there was some stuff about Hunter, and then he said, if you want to talk about kids, look at your kids. It was like an offhanded thing like that.
But then he wrapped it around in the most perfect way. He was like, but it's not about my family or your family. It's about
you and me.
It's about your family, pointing to the camera. And I'm like,
yeah.
Yes.
Thanks,
yeah, you
Joe.
and me.
See, Biden, he may not have had the most perfect performance all around. I can't give him an A+, but whenever he needed to, he definitely corralled the attention of the audience.
Well, I think that is because that there were 3 different discussions happening in this debate. The first one was Trump versus Biden. Obviously, that's the obvious one. We all saw that. The second one was Trump versus Wallace. I almost said Matthews again. And I think I wrote it down too. Yeah, I wrote down Matthews. And Biden to the American people. That's this stuff, right? He looks at you. And he's like, it's your family that's important, your jobs that are important, your healthcare that's important. That's the kind of stuff that we needed to see from Biden in this debate. He showed himself to be the more empathetic candidate, the person who cares about you and your family, while Trump was worried about the semantics and debating with the moderator.
I'm going to be completely honest. Trump he looks like he's attempting to be a stage actor or, a film actor. He's not, or not even a film actor at that point, because at that point he would look at the camera.
Yeah.
The man never looks into the camera to talk to anybody. He only talks about, what's around him. He never directs it at the American people. He never tries to tell them something. It's lost.
Go ahead and play these last two clips. I think they're important. The Biden on voting, 1 hour 23 minutes and 45 seconds.
Trump went full Boris Johnson. He started speaking like Boris Johnson looks.
Okay.
You got it?
I am ready.
Let's get right into the news.
To reassure the American people that the next president will be the legitimate winner of this election. In this final segment, Mr. Vice President, you go first.
Prepared to let people vote. They should go to iwillvote.com. Decide how they're going to vote, when they're going to vote, and what means by which they're going to vote. His own Homeland Security Director, and as well as the FBI Director, says there is no evidence at all that mail-in ballots are a source of being manipulated and cheating. They said that. The fact is that there are going to be millions of people because of COVID that are going to be voting by mail-in ballots, like he does, by the way. He sits behind the Resolute desk and sends his ballot to Florida.
Got him.
Number one. Number two, we're going to make sure that those people who want to vote in person are able to vote because enough poll watchers are there to make sure they can socially distance. The polls are open on time, and polls stay open until the votes are counted. And this is all about trying to dissuade people from voting because he's trying to scare people into thinking that it's not going to be legitimate. Show up and vote. You will determine the outcome of this election. Vote, vote, vote. If you're able to vote early in your state, vote early. If you're able to vote in person, vote in person. Vote whatever way is the best way for you, because he cannot stop you from being able to determine the outcome of this election.
Can't.
And in terms of whether or not, when the votes are counted, and they're all counted, that will be accepted. If I win, that will be accepted. If I lose, that'll be accepted. But by the way, if in fact he says he's not sure what he's going to accept, well, let me tell you something. It doesn't matter, because if we get the votes, it's going to be all over. He's going to go. He can't stay in power. It won't happen. It won't
Tell
happen.
him, Joe.
So vote. Just make sure you understand you have it in your control to determine what this country is going to look like the next 4 years. Is it going to change, or is it going to be 4 more years of these lies?
That's a good pause right there. So yeah, that was kind of Biden's takeaway at the end. That was the last question of the debate.
I'm reminded of what Tunney said a little bit earlier. You said there's no way the executive, officer, the president, there's no way he can, stop the election. And once the votes come in,
no, I was saying how, like, if you are telling us that it could or will be fraudulent, you, as the leader of the executive branch, should do something about that.
Yeah.
In attempts to make it not so. Right.
Right. Instead of just complaining about it in a live stage.
About it, like, you control the bureaucracy. Like,
yeah, but also
do something about it.
The bureaucaucracy is bigger than him, also, though.
Yeah,
like,
that's the wonderful thing about America. Is
once the votes come in,
you can just tell everyone what to do.
But I think that Trump honestly put this best himself. Like, I couldn't have put it better than this. Can you get this next clip ready, Tunney? I think that this clip really, just fully encapsulates what Trump feels, what we feel, and what is the likelihood for this election.
What is this? I don't know what this is about to be.
For our country.
This is not
going to end well.
Go ahead and pause it.
I totally forgot we had that one in there.
Dude.
This is not going to end well.
Sounds like...
But our show will.
This
show will, as we get into our final segment.
Yeah, let's just get out of there.
The milk.
Just get away from that.
So, the first I'm going to get rid of this prop and get another one.
He sounded like a kid when, like, they spill like milk or something, or like
This is not going to end well.
this is not going to end well.
It's like when you take the.
It's the end of the sitcom.
Yeah, when you take the kickball from the game, and they're just like,
This is not
this is
gonna
not gonna end well.
Wrong.
But yeah, I just wanted to mention real quick that I thought this was a cool little story. We're trying to bust through this milk. I know this is a long show, ladies and
Thanks
gentlemen.
for
I'm sorry.
sticking through the debate segment, though.
Yeah.
I know we all sat through it painfully, but now we get to the supple
Because the-
relief, as some people might call it.
The supple that is what Jack Tunney called it. He came up with that.
That's not true.
Wrong.
Wrong.
Totally discredited.
Brandon gave me
Totally
a gift earlier this week, and I thought it was really sweet.
Substantiated.
Brandon.
What's the story that led to that, Pete?
So here we go. This is a signed edition of
Well, I was at
Taylor Swift's Folklore album. Is her most recent album.
you gotta kinda
I'm a
bring it.
fan. I'm sorry, everyone. I am a
can't see the
fan.
signature.
We didn't see the signature. Bring it a
Oh,
little
you
closer to the
can't. You
camera.
can't see. Well, I don't want to get
Oh,
up.
just lean or something. I don't know. Yeah,
You can see
I
it.
can see that.
Well, I was in Lucadia with my beautiful girlfriend Tara Turner,
Shout out, girlfriends. We love you.
and we stopped
Uh-huh,
at
yeah.
Lou's Records pretty spontaneously, and we went to Lou's Records in Lucadia, and we were in there, and I got some stuffs, and at the front I saw there was a display, and there was a 6.5 foot tall Taylor Swift. Jokes.
She's not that tall, is she?
No, but I think she's like really tall.
There was no cardboard cutout.
She is like really tall.
Hold on. I am the producer. I will look this up.
I made up the cardboard cutout.
Oh no, but you saw the CDs. You saw
saw
the
it.
me
Yeah, and I'm like, hold on.
because I do enjoy myself some Taylor Swift.
And she's like, my girlfriend is like, oh, you like that? And I'm like, nah, he likes that.
I've come in.
And then we laughed at you.
6.5 foot Taylor Swift.
Wait.
Wrong. She is 5'10".
That is pretty tall though.
That is genuinely.
Yeah, that's pretty tall.
I am 5'5".
But
Right.
the reason that I bring this up in the milk is not just because I think Brandon is really cute for getting me an album that I like and a signed album at that.
We laughed
but
at
the reason that I bring
hate,
this
no
story
hate.
up in the milk is because Taylor Swift apparently donated a bunch of these signed CDs to independent record stores like the one that you were in,
Lose Records and
Lou's
Lucadia.
Records in Lucadia, in order to boost sales for these record stores while they're going through a tough time with the pandemic. So I thought that was really cool, not just because she's helping these people with the pandemic, but because my friend Brandon loves me and thought of me and then tells me he was making fun of me while he was doing it.
Oh, can I add in on this Brandon love?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Brandon was also up in LA at one point. Not saying you should travel at this time, but
was,
Brandon was up in a thrift store in LA, and they got some pretty good stuff up there. So good, in fact, that he found a CD of my favorite band of all time, Oingo Boingo, headed by the man Danny Elfman. You all know and love. But Brandon, to show all the love, I love you, brother.
It was $1.99. It
And
was a rare find.
That is one of the
Well,
rarest
thrift store.
finds.
this was fit $13 right here. It's $60 on the internet. So
Good finds.
good finds.
Good
Physical
finds.
music.
Independent.
Physical music is still sick, especially for independent artists like
Yeah.
Taylor Swift is now independent, which I will always shout out. And it's cool because she owns everything about that.
Yeah.
100%.
So she just donated it. She was just like,
Yeah, like
She's got a lot of money.
well,
So
she does
she
got a
might
lot
as
of money.
well.
I'm just saying it's cool that she did that.
It's
for
very
them.
genuine that she thought about mom and pop record stores that are going through a hard time right now, and like was said in the debate, 1 in 6,
Small businesses.
have gone out of
and I mean,
style.
when's the last time
Like,
people
not
usually
even-
don't buy physical music anymore? Like
No.
Unlike you and me.
Mostly Spotify and iTunes and all that. But speaking of physical music, I did watch a good.
this guy.
These transitions.
was a great-
These segues
Yo.
are rolling.
Thank you so much.
Until
you
we-
fucking ruined it.
Yeah,
when
until
you,
we do that.
But I watched The Wall. Pink Floyd's The Wall.
I haven't seen it myself.
It is I don't really even know how to.
It's more than spectacular.
It's like really good, and there's I think there's some contemporary ideas in there as well that, you know, people in 2020 watching it can pick up some information. I know it's about, you know, post-war England. That's what it's really about, is post-war England and how they were dealing with that and how the society, you know, kind of forced children into, you know, education, thought control, and, you know, eventually he, you know, falls into this inner chamber of isolation, all that stuff. But I think watching it in 2020 was really compelling because the dude's alone in his room for most of the movie, right? And he's inside of his own mind. And a lot of us went through that with quarantine.
Right now.
And then
Today.
there are segments towards the end of the movie regarding authoritarianism, regarding racism, specifically anti-Semitism in this case. So it's a lot of stuff that seems almost timeless. And that's how Pink Floyd is to me. Very, very, very timeless. And I thought it was a really good watch, and I recommend it to you guys at home at this time. It's very psychedelic. It's very strange. There's these weird art pieces that happen in the middle, almost no dialogue, but
the music is sick.
The music is beautiful.
Best of all time. I've always wondered how they would visualize the judge part towards the end.
Yeah, it's a giant walking ass, like literally a disgruntled butt.
Wait.
I'm not even fucking you. This is true. It's a giant butt and like a talking anus.
I mean, that's kind of a good character. Good representation.
But yeah, no, so I recommend that to you guys. I think that it's a good watch, even contemporary, and applying it to contemporary times and the things that we're going through.
One of my favorite albums of all time.
Yeah, it's a really good album.
Writing on the wall. Hey.
I'm sorry to skip a little bit, but I just pulled up the Fox News article that we have for the last bit of the milk.
Oh, of the woman who was using children to steal Trump campaign
Oh my
signs.
gosh, what is happening?
Oh
my gosh.
Oh, so much sound.
Oh, the computer's taking a mind of its own.
Oh no.
I can't even get to it. It's keeping me away.
I'm not even gonna do this story now. Let's just dance off.
I can't pause it.
Yeah, just get rid of it. I don't even want to talk about that. Some lady used children to steal Trump campaign signs.
Every time.
That's
about
And
it.
it's on Fox News, so you know
Yeah.
it's credible.
Every time I see a Trump sign, I want to rip it down.
yeah. So I understand. She like hired children.
That's free market right there.
Uh,
It's obviously in demand.
but that wraps
These
up.
kids are getting their money.
But that wraps up our milk. I believe.
I think you're correct.
So our show is coming to a close. It's a really long show. We're sorry about that, but we had a great time doing this one. As you can tell, we were very jovial, joking around about the president and the vice president. Even though this subject matter is pretty serious, we thought that it would be best to kind of come at this from a happy-go-lucky stance so that we didn't, just drone on and on and on about how terrible this was.
Yeah, you can get more of that when you get back to CNN or whatever you like to watch.
We love doing this show, and the primary reason for that is, of course, you, the viewer. We love your feedback and your continuous support, and that's why, once again, we are encouraging you to leave comments in that comment section down below. Ask us questions, give us feedback, anything you want to do. And again, we will be responding to those comments at the very beginning of our show next week.
So make it some good ones.
Make it some good ones, please.
Peter and I would also just like to give a very large, very grand shout out to our man behind the cam, Jack Tunney. Tunney. Because, he really sits behind there a lot and listens, and, he might not always have the most active role, but today we really worked him hard and really, put him to work, and
So many clips.
it really is a necessary part of this podcast. We wouldn't be able to do any of it without you, our third man. So
Happy to do it, boys.
just because he's not visible doesn't mean he's not important to us. So
Yeah,
we just want to
very,
thank you
very
so
important
much.
to us.
We also got David Whitehead, our editor, who makes sure that these clips get uploaded to YouTube and they're there in a timely fashion, and they've got great artifacts, edits, and graphics and that kind of thing. So David Whitehead, Peter Whitehead's brother, is our editor. Shout out to him. Thank you so much.
We love you, Dave.
It would not be possible without y'all, literally.
And finally, I'd like to thank you, Brandon.
What? Wait.
Yeah, you didn't get that part, did you? You didn't get that part, did you?
Thank you, Brandon.
For continuing to support me and support this show, even in weeks when it's hard to stay focused on anything. We've been able to do it. We're both in a lot of classes, dealing with a lot of stuff, emotional, mental issues, all on top of it, and yet we're here every single week and we're fucking doing it.
Yeah,
so I appreciate you in doing
I'm
that.
stressed
with me.
right now. This show is not easy to do.
No.
Peter, move your mic. I want to see your beautiful face.
We might be laughing around and having fun, but I feel like my brain is on 100% and it's
Yeah,
ready.
I get very wired when I do this show.
It's ready
I
to
get-
clock out.
I get tension and stuff in here. So we're going to fucking end it.
But hopefully we never have to watch a debate like that ever again in America.
We're going to watch 2 more before the election even happens. So
Oh yeah, well they've got the vice president debate next week. Did you know about that?
no, I didn't know about that.
Oh yes, that's what
You
they
didn't
said.
know about it?
That's what
Yeah,
they're
no,
doing.
no, I knew about that.
Oh.
Of course I knew about that.
I was gonna
Vice
say.
president's debate is like college it's like the Rose Bowl.
It's like college football.
So I don't really care that much, but it's cool.
I mean,
We'll talk
sometimes
about
the
it.
college football games be kind of good though.
No, there's some good Rose Bowl games and stuff.
They might even be better than the professional players sometimes.
But we just want to say thank you again for coming and spending your time with us. This is a whopper of a show. We appreciate you for sticking it out so long. I know our retention rate is so low. No one's listening to this part. But thank you again, and we will see you next week. So we had actually finished recording on our show when we looked down at our phones and we saw panic texts from loved ones and many news articles.
Right now it's late on Thursday night.
It is late Thursday night. It's 11:55 p.m. Western time. It has become apparent that the President of the United States has contracted coronavirus, COVID-19. This appears to be from his aide that we mentioned in the first bite, Hope Hicks, that was in close proximity to him during the debates and during a campaign rally the next day, and then also today on Thursday. He began quarantine earlier tonight, and then Friday morning Eastern time. So this was in like an hour ago from our time. He tweeted out that tonight, Flotus and I tested positive for COVID-19. We will begin our quarantine and recovery process immediately. We will get through this together. That was shortly before 1 a.m.
Insane,
Eastern
dude.
time on Friday. Trump is 74 years old. He is obese. I have no problem saying it. He is in the category of people that are most harshly affected and most dangerously affected by this virus.
And we know that he doesn't have the most healthy diet. Habitual McDonald's eater like myself.
Yeah. So I mean, this is very serious. As much as there are people on the internet. I went on Twitter momentarily. There are people on the internet, celebrating this
Ding dong, the witch is there, the witch is there, the witch is.
and coming on super strong.
Oh, sorry, we weren't supposed to do that. But the thing is that he is still a man, and
Yes,
obviously no
with a
one should be
family.
wishing for death.
Yes. And also, I mean, this is an incredibly dangerous climate that we're in politically right now. I don't know what the death of a sitting president during the final month before an election would do to this country. And I personally, as much as this feels like some form of divine justice, that a man who denied so much of the realities of this pandemic now has it, I do wish him well. I hope that he makes a speedy recovery and he's back on the campaign trail and he's able to survive this.
It's still horrifying, though. I mean, this is like something we've been theorizing about, it finally reaching the White House, and
Yeah.
the fact that if he has it right now, that means that he probably had it at the debate,
Yep.
maybe had it before, has been traveling around with it. We know
He went to a rally for sure yesterday.
We know he's not the most adamant mask wearer. So he's been spreading the virus. Actually, did you see that it was reported that Trump is the greatest purveyor of misinformation about the coronavirus? He has now become a literal purveyor of the virus.
Yes.
It's ironic, and like I want to laugh, but it's not funny that the
Yeah.
president has a virus that
I mean,
he's to blame for.
You can disagree with the person, you can condemn him, you can call him all sorts of names, but personally, him dying or even getting very sick in a time like this is extremely dangerous for the United States, and for our standing in the international community. So I do so hope that he is able to pull through.
Yeah, me too. And the coronavirus, I please need you to stand back and stand by. COVID-19.
And that wraps it up, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next time.